अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
कैसी हो जायरा? क्या हाल है बेटा?
मैं ठीक हूँ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। आप बताओ, आप कैसे हो?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक, बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक। I'm so excited that you gave me this honor to take you you know on board, and it's an honor, Zaira, that you're here on my show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for doing this.
नहीं नहीं, not at all यार. I wanted you to come, and there are so many fans of yours. कल रात से मुझे इतने messages आए हैं, बल्कि एक तो there is this sister, she did not sleep. Can you imagine? Because देखो 2 बज रहे हैं ना, इस आपके पास भी तो 11 बज रहे होंगे ना कश्मीर में।
जी, it's
11 बज रहे हैं ना
11:38
बेटा?
right now. जी।
हाँ, और हमारे पास फ्लोरिडा में 2 बज रहे हैं।
हम्म।
और तुम सोचो कि दूसरी जो कंट्रीज हैं, पाकिस्तान हो गई, इंडिया हो गई, इधर उधर, यहाँ पे जो है, यहाँ पे भी यही टाइम हो रहा है। तो बाज जो हैं वो तो सोई नहीं है रात भर कि हम जो है वो आने वाली हैं। और मुझे मैसेजेस पे मैसेजेस, बाजी वो कब आएंगी जायरा, कब आएंगी, एंड आई वाज लाइक ओके, होल्ड ऑन। खैर जारा, टेल अस समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ, लाइक कहाँ से आप बिलोंग करती हो, और क्या करती हो, क्या कितने बहन भाई हैं घर में?
I was born and brought up in Kashmir, Srinagar city
ओके।
actually. And I have an elder brother. मेरे भाई हैं एक, मुझसे 8 साल बड़े हैं. So that. And this entire journey of Bollywood actually started बिल्कुल एक accident था. It was not something I planned, and surprisingly, it was not something I dreamed of. It was never a thought that I would do this. But it just happened, and बहुत सारी चीजें होती गई और coincidence कुछ ना कुछ. And then there I was.
Okay. So, how was your? I mean, did you like it? How was it? Like, was it too exciting for you as a child? I know that अभी तो नहीं होगी, but जब इन्होंने तुम्हें pick किया था तुम्हारे school से, I remember, right? तो how was the experience?
It was. I don't think it registered उस time पे. मुझे समझ भी नहीं आ रहा था कि हुआ क्या. I remember I have always been this person जिसको बहुत social anxiety होती थी. I've always been this introvert, and मुझे इतना socialize करना अच्छा नहीं लगता था, and let alone to be able to perform in front of so many people. So that in itself was such a weird experience for me. So what happened is कि हमारे school में, I will just tell you the story exactly हुआ क्या था. कि हमारे स्कूल में ऐसी कुछ वर्कशॉप्स होती रहती थी और कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता था. और somehow हमारे स्कूल में एक एक्टिंग वर्कशॉप हो रहा था जहाँ पे we decided कि हम एक play create करेंगे, and this play was around women empowerment. It was about female infanticide.
Okay.
तो हमने वो play किया, और somehow that play actually went बहुत अच्छा हुआ, बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ. And that was the first time I was performing. So I'm telling you, I'm a person who couldn't even speak in
Yeah,
front of the
yeah,
mirror.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then there I was out there performing. So it was weird for me. And coincidentally, वो play बहुत ही अच्छा गया. And since then, my principal kind of noticed that, okay, this girl has this thing for acting. She can act.
Yeah, yeah.
So उसके बाद काफी months के बाद एक बार एक casting director थे. वो casting director हमारे school आए. Actually वो कश्मीर आए. He was looking for a girl for some film, and he was visiting several schools. And he also happened to visit ours during that time.
Okay.
And he came over, and I remember my principal called me to her office, and she asked me if I would want to take part in it, if I would want to audition. I had no idea कि किस चीज के लिए audition हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. My principal gave in my name. She said you should go and give an audition. So I went for that audition, and I got shortlisted for that audition, but I did not get selected. I was really upset. I was really upset कि क्यों नहीं हुआ, और काफी टाइम तक उन्होंने नहीं बताया कि क्या है, और बहुत टाइम बाद they said that you have not been selected for that role. And months later, one day I'm sitting and I get a call from a casting director here in Kashmir. So he called me and he said, there's this ad we're trying to shoot. Why don't you come over, give an audition? So I went for that
Okay.
audition. Long story short, I shot one ad with them. I shot another ad with them. And one day I was sitting, and so I came back from school. मैं स्कूल से आई और मैं किचन में एंटर किया, and my mother is just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
She's sitting, she's looking at me, and she had this really weird look on her face. I'm looking at her, okay, क्या हो गया? Have I done something? मेरे से कोई गलती हो गई? कुछ कर दिया मैंने? क्या हो गया? मुझे ऐसे क्यों
Yeah.
देख रही है? So I asked her, क्या हुआ? And she said, do you know somebody called? Like, okay. Who called? Do you want to tell me who called? And she's like, do you remember that casting director? I said, yeah. He said, he was calling. You've been offered a role in a film.
And that was the this Amir Khan's movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said, and she said, do you know who it is? And I said, who? She said, it's Amir Khan. I was like, you're kidding. This is, you're joking, right? This cannot be true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I went for that audition, and that took several months actually. So the audition was not something that you just go and you get selected. नहीं, वो बहुत लंबा सा audition था, काफी time रहा, काफी time चला, और eventually then I got selected for that film. I got selected.
Yeah, and that was Dangal. Was it Dangal or that was Superstar?
Dangal.
That was Dangal, right? I remember. Yeah.
Dangal. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it so happened that while we were shooting Dangal, I got offered the second film. So it had not even happened that my first film was out. And before my first film could get out, while I was shooting it, I got the offer for the second film as well. So I had two films in my bag.
And both were the Amir Khans, right? Yeah, I remember shooting with you. Yeah. And that was the Superstar movie.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. अच्छा, अब मुझे ये बताओ कि आमिर के साथ और उनकी टीम के साथ आपका जो है वो एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा?
It was really good. Now that I'm out of it, I'm not going to say that it was bad. It was good. I enjoyed it. Whatever time I spent there, I enjoyed it. Of course, then we're going to get to that story later, obviously, the realizations I had and as such. But I was really young.
जायरा, आपका माइक जो है वो करीब कर दें. मेरे जो ऑडियंस है वो कह रहे हैं कि आपकी आवाज जो है ना, इट्स अ लिटिल बिट, यू नो, वो थोड़ा क्लियर नहीं हो पा रही.
अभी सुनाई दे रहा है?
हाँ. अच्छा जायरा, you're 19, right?
I am 20.
You're 20. Oh, you turned 20? अच्छा, पता नहीं किसी को.
this year, inshallah.
अब हमारे सामने तो ये होता है ना कि जो छोटे बहन भाई होते हैं या जो छोटे होते हैं वो छोटे रहते हैं. तो I was talking to someone yesterday and I told जायरा अभी 18 साल की हुई है, you know, and then time is flying यार. Time कैसे गुजर जाता है पता ही नहीं चलता, you know. तो जायरा, when you started working, you were 16 or even younger?
I think I was 14.
14,
I was 14 when I shot my first ad.
Yeah, and you were. अच्छा, तो मुझे बताओ कि स्कूल को और काम को कैसे मैनेज करती थी?
You know what? I'm just going to take off my AirPods ताकि सबको आराम से सुनाई दे.
Yeah, because everyone is like, you know. असल में देखो टीवी पे इंटरव्यूज देखना ना ज़ायरा is very different, you know. And thank you so much, by the way, you all. Let me tell you that Zaira does not give her interviews anymore. बहुत कम देती हैं. Exclusively जो है वो मरियम बाजी के लिए इन्होंने ये इंटरव्यू किया है. Zaira, I will be thankful. I mean, I'm still thankful. And such a wonderful woman and girl she is. माशाल्लाह, अल्लाह में इनकी नसीब अच्छे करे. अच्छा, मुझे अब आप ये बताओ ज़ायरा कि किस तरीके से आपके पेरेंट्स ने आपको सपोर्ट किया ड्यूरिंग यू वर वर्किंग एंड योर ब्रदर एंड यू नो, बिकॉज तुम यूर लाइक एक्टिंग तो तुम्हें बहुत अच्छी आती थी. स्किल्स तो तुम्हारी बहुत ही, मतलब इवन व्हेन यू टॉक विदाउट लाइक दिस नकाब, यू हैव लाइक रियली गुड एक्सप्रेशंस, यू नो, एंड आई हैव सीन दैट. सो वो नॉर्मल लोग नहीं कर सकते. तो वो कैसे इन्होंने आपको किया सपोर्ट?
It was weird for, look, I'm going to be very honest, it was weird for them at first. It's not some, because I told you कि ये ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं थी जो मैं करना चाहती थी, या जो मैंने, it was not even a thing कि मैंने घर पे बोला हो मुझे एक्ट्रेस बनना है, या मुझे it just happened and genuinely I feel कि it was a journey that Allah Ta'ala had planned for me. I had never planned it. I had never even thought about it. So for my parents, when I told them, it was weird. It was a surprise. And I'm going to be honest, my parents were like, "Bhai, tum chup karke baitho, tum jaogi, and you'll get." First of all, it was the thing that do you think you will get selected for the audition? Do you think you will get selected? So it's not going to happen.
और भाई तो होते ही कैसे ना, मजाक उड़ाते हैं.
Yes, and not mazak, they just know who you are. Right? Parents को पेरेंट्स से बेहतर किसको पता होता है अपने बच्चों के बारे में. But I also remember when actually I got the audition, I got selected. तो पापा मेरे साथ गए थे. I have never traveled without my parents. I've always had कोई ना कोई मेरे
Yeah, with your
साथ
parents.
हमेशा रहा है. तो हमारे साथ भी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ये हुआ कि हम लोग जब वहाँ बॉम्बे गए, my first time I was there, I was auditioning और ये सब हो रहा था. So my father at some point was really worried. Of course, it's an unknown place and you don't know what's going on. But fortunately, the crew was really good. All of them, they were really, really, really good, and they really took great care of all of us. तो हम लोग जब वहाँ पर गए, my father and so दंगल के लिए एक और चीज क्या थी कि हमें बहुत ट्रेनिंग करनी पड़ती थी. So for 6 months we trained, and when my father saw me, and it's a father who's seeing a very clumsy daughter,
Yeah,
a very clumsy daughter
yeah.
seeing doing ऐसा wrestling कर रही है, and he really thought कि ये लड़की टूट जाएगी. As in physically she'll break. He was like इसकी हड्डी वड्डी टूट.
Mentally, because she can't do this.
Not just mentally, it's physically. I told you, my father thought I was a really clumsy girl, which I was.
Yeah.
And he said कि ये तो इसकी हड्डी वड्डी टूट जाएगी. And he came and he very politely asked me, look, if you won't be able to do it, please tell me. I'll talk to the crew. It's okay. You don't have to, you don't have
And
to
what,
do
how was
it.
your reaction? What, like, were you like really into this that no, Baba, I have to do this? Like, I'm not going. Like, because knowing you, if you like something, if you want to do something, you will not look right and left. You will just, be very focused and
I honestly do not even remember if I was focused or not. I was just trying what I could do. It's not, I'm not going to say like कि भाई मैंने बहुत कमाल किया था और वो किया था. मैं कोशिश कर रही थी जितनी मुझसे हो सकती थी, मैं उतनी कोशिश करती रहती थी, because it was really tough. It was not easy, क्योंकि बहुत स्ट्रेनिंग होता है आपके लिए एक ऐसे इंसान के. ऑफ कोर्स आई वाज रियली यंग. आपने कभी कोई फिजिकल एक्टिविटी एंगेज, आप उसमें कभी भी एंगेज नहीं हुए हो, एंड सडनली यूर रेसलिंग, लेट अलोन एक्टिंग तो चलिए दूसरी बात है, पर रेसलिंग वाज रियली रियली टफ. बहुत मुश्किल
yeah.
था और बहुत टफ स्केड्यूल होता था.
और 6 months तक आप लोगों ने train किया था, and then you guys started shooting for this
Yes,
movie, right?
yes, yes.
And then what about Secret Superstar? That तो you मतलब rocked it completely. And मतलब everybody, I know that I should not talk about it that much, but like me and you discussed it earlier that on interview I'm going to be asking these questions. ये मुझे बताओ कि Sky is Pink तो आपने देखी ही नहीं है खुद?
नहीं, मैंने नहीं देखी.
अच्छा, प्रियंका चोपड़ा एंड फरहान के साथ आपने जब काम किया था, तो who casted you? What exactly happened?
So I see, by that time I mean मेरी 2 films release हो चुकी थी, and I was getting a lot of offers. बहुत सारे offers थे उसमें, और I had a team that time. I had a manager. I had a team who was organizing everything. They would look into all the details. कौन सी film आ रही है, कौन सी script कर रहे हैं वो. So it was their thing. उन्होंने ढूंढा था और वो सब. It all worked out because
Yeah,
of
because
my.
I remember you were about to sign a movie with Shah Rukh Khan also, right?
Yes, I was.
And then that is the time when you said no, right? What you said no, I don't want to do it, right? So what came into your mind? How exactly this thing happened when you were, because people are like movie देखने के क्या, premiere देख के, if I will look at Shah Rukh Khan, I remember I worked with him like on an event with Shah Rukh Khan, and then when he came in front of me, I was totally numb. I mean, I don't like, you know me, right?
Yeah.
So it was like a fan moment. I was working with him, but still, like still मुझे तो कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था कि मैं कर क्या रही हूँ. So you being like कि sign हो गई एक movie शाहरुख खान के साथ, and then you said no, I don't want to do it. और किसी के साथ भी. It's not about him. It's about I'm leaving Bollywood. जो हर बंदे का ख्वाब है. Mostly हमारी जो generation है.
If I have to narrate this journey, it'll actually take hours, genuinely. And I remember, so this thing, जैसे आपने शाहरुख खान की जो भी फिल्म थी जो साइन होने वाली थी, nobody knew मैंने वो क्यों छोड़ी that time. So this was after Secret Superstar. I was going and I was journeying through certain things. मैं events वगैरह कर रही थी ये वो. But there was a thing within me that was constantly bugging me कि something is not right. Something is कुछ सही नहीं जा रहा है. कुछ चीज है जो I did not know what it was. Okay, I'm not gonna say that I felt like it was something कुछ मुझे ये नहीं पता था कि प्रॉब्लम क्या थी. मुझे ये बिल्कुल नहीं पता था. मुझे बस ऐसा फील होता रहता था कॉन्स्टेंटली कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है मेरी जिंदगी में. There is a longing within me that is not finding a language, that is not finding an outlet. What do I do about it? And वो आहिस्ता 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 मुझे हमेशा बग करती रहती थी. So meanwhile, I told you I had a team. मेरे पास एक मैनेजर था जो constantly events हो रहे थे. And meanwhile, there were a lot of films. There were a lot of films that were coming my way. तो मैं अच्छा, so then I clearly remember where I was. मैं किस point पे थी? I was really frustrated. I'm going to be honest. I was really frustrated कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है मेरी जिंदगी में, मुझे नहीं पता क्या हो रहा है, but there's something I'm going wrong, and I'm repeating myself to make a point. I'm going to exaggerate this to make a point that Allah Ta'ala has created you on a certain fitra. He has created an instinct within you, and that instinct doesn't die. That consciousness doesn't die. Any experience that we live in our lives, any experience that we gain in our lives, it takes on that level of that consciousness always. आप कुछ भी करें, आप क्यों होता है हमें कि हम किसी को देखते हैं दर्द में तो हमें परेशानी होती है, क्यों ऐसा होता है कि हम किसी के लिए कुछ करते हैं तो हमें अच्छा लगता है, या अभी हम we see on the internet the trend right now, everybody is trying to teach someone something. It's an instinct that we have. It's an instinct to want better for other people and for our own selves. So I wanted that for myself. I realized that what I am doing right now is not enough. Forget enough. It's not what I want to do. It's not something I should be doing. कुछ उल्टा लग रहा है मुझे.
सही बात.
So I really sat. I was in Macau. I clearly remember I was in Macau. I sat down. I was really frustrated. मैं सोचती थी कभी-कभी कि शायद it's because of this film industry ये वो. पर हम लोग हमेशा अपने आप के ज़मीर से झूठ बोलते हैं. हम हमेशा अपने आप से झूठ बोलते हैं कि अल्लाह ताला आपका दिल देखते हैं, नीयत होती है, which is true. But you have to understand that if you have the audacity to say that only God can judge me, do you realize how scary that is? What deeds do you have to show him and have the audacity to say that only he knows what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I was in Macau and I was sitting and I was really frustrated. I said, पता नहीं क्या प्रॉब्लम है यार, मुझे नहीं पता क्या हो रहा है, but कुछ उल्टा जा रहा है, and I really want to change it. I was desperate for a change, and the sad part was that I did not know what change I wanted. So I sat there and I was like, you know what's missing? It's knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what it hit me कि मेरी जिंदगी में अगर कुछ चीज missing है, वो इल्म है.
सही बात.
And I did not know मुझे इल्म भी किस चीज का चाहिए था. So I just sat for some time and I thought that, okay, if I want to know what is that I want to know. So I thought about it. Fine. I am a Muslim. And if this thing is bugging me, why is it bugging me? What is the problem? What is wrong that I'm doing? So I thought about it and I said, my heart knows that there is a creator. My heart sincerely believes that there is only one God. And if there does exist one God, first you have to accept that कि हाँ अल्लाह ताला है. It cannot be कि आप अपने आप को झूठ बोल रहे हैं और आप दीन का काम कर रहे हैं, जो भी कर रहे हैं आप, you're claiming. You have to really think about it. That do I believe in that one God? So I thought, yes, I do. So if I do believe in one God, if you do love someone, you would obviously want to know what that person wants. And similarly, I thought that if Allah Ta'ala has created me, why is it that he has created me? It cannot be कि Allah Ta'ala ने आपको फजूल में दुनिया में भेज दिया है. It cannot.
There is a reason for it. Yeah.
It cannot be. He cannot send you on this earth to not do anything and just chill and eat and deny the reality. So I thought about it. I sat and I thought about it कि अच्छा कुछ तो है. अच्छा ठीक है, प्रॉब्लम है. Now I want to search for knowledge. अब मुझे knowledge किस चीज की चाहिए, मुझे ये नहीं पता था.
अच्छा, मतलब all of a sudden एक ही दिन में तुमने ये realize कर लिया that कि knowledge चाहिए, wisdom चाहिए, तालीम चाहिए?
नहीं. It was a journey. And it's one of the reasons why I have not spoken about it openly. You know, a lot of people come and ask me, why did you
Yes, yes.
quit? Why don't you talk about it? It's because one, I feel कि एक चीज होती है ना कि आपने एक डिसीजन जिंदगी में लिया होता है और आप उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. For me, it's a journey I am still making.
Yes.
And if you remember, whenever I've spoken to you, I've told you that guidance is never
Yes.
a destination. It's
Yes.
not something कि आप रात को उठोगे और हो जाएगा.
नहीं,
अगर
बिल्कुल.
एक ही बार में हो जाता ना तो हम हम 5 वक्त नमाज नहीं पढ़ रहे होते. हम 5 वक्त अल्लाह ताला से नहीं कह रहे होते कि इहदिनस सिरातल मुस्तकीम, अल्लाह ताला हमें सही रास्ते पर
सही
गाइड करो.
रास्ते. सही.
So guidance is basically a journey. It's a journey that you have to make every single day and every
Yeah.
single moment of your life. So it was not something कि एक रात में हो गया. मैं क्योंकि जब काम कर रही थी ना तो मुझे लगता था कुछ उल्टा है, कुछ मजा नहीं आ रहा है. Short में, like if I want to talk about
सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं थी कि.
मजा नहीं
Yeah.
आ रहा है मुझे. I want to do something like this is not this cannot be. This shallow life cannot, it does not honor your creation. It
सही
cannot
बात.
be that a God so great created you for something so shallow. It cannot be.
No.
So while I was working, and like I told you कि journey is a guidance is a journey, तो साथ साथ क्या एक और चीज मैं क्या कर रही थी कि मुझे जो जो प्रोजेक्ट्स आ रहे थे मैं वो छोड़ रही थी एक 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 करके. मैं किसी को बता नहीं सकती थी, ना मैं किसी से बात कर सकती थी और ना मैं बता, because
You were just
unfortunately
fighting from your
I
own
was
self.
fighting. I'm still fighting. Yeah. So I did not have the courage to tell someone that this is why I don't want to do this. So my manager would call me and say, "Falana event hai, ye hai, ye hai, ye hai, ye hai," and I would I would make up some excuse कि नहीं करना. I would make such lame excuses like it doesn't even make sense. I would make such weird excuses कि नहीं करना है मुझे. और आहिस्ता 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 बट एक स्टेज क्या आ गया कि मैं फंस गई कि आप, क्योंकि आप कितनी देर झूठ बोलोगे अपने आप से और अपने आसपास के
अपने
लोगों
आप से ही तो सच और झूठ का मुकाबला होता है ना. लोगों से तो like people like us are not scared. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So for first you have to acknowledge that you're lying to yourself, and I acknowledge that. Okay, you know what? You're lying to yourself. You cannot say that सब chill है, सब आप सब कर सकते हो, कुछ नहीं हो. No, 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 no. And I do not mean just acting. Acting is a different thing. I'm talking about, there's always some one thing. किसी के लिए वो, it's different for everyone. There's always that one thing that we are doing which is wrong, and we know it. We know it. You can't lie to yourself. We
Yeah.
know it in our heart, and we know it with certainty, but we keep ignoring it. We keep lying to ourselves. And एक पॉइंट पे क्या होता है कि जब आप अपने आप से झूठ बोलते रहते हैं
तो आप बीमार हो जाते हैं, डिप्रेस्ड.
आप उस झूठ को सच मान लेते हैं फिर eventually.
Yeah.
So when I was there and I thought about that, this is not what I want to do. This is something I want to change. But मेरे पास रीजन नहीं था. मेरे पास रीजन नहीं था कि मुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है. Like, what is the issue? Why am I not doing this? Why do I not want to do this? So आहिस्ता आहिस्ता एक जर्नी होती थी, हमेशा होती थी, बट हमेशा it was like हाँ ठीक है छोड़ देंगे. Maybe we lie to ourselves like ठीक है, maybe I'll do it for 5 years and then I will leave. Maybe I'll earn so much money and then maybe I will work with that person and then I will think about quitting. But who has promised you that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
has promised a tomorrow to your excuses? Right? It's tough. It gets tough. So I sat एक बार, मतलब genuinely मैं, I used to lie, I told you that I used to lie and I used to say कि नहीं करना, मुझे नहीं करना, झूठ बोलती कुछ. But एक stage आया where I got stuck. I really got stuck and they were like, why are you saying no to everything? आप कब तक बोलते रहोगे कि नहीं करना? जैसे आपने मुझे वो प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में बोला that there was this film and I fought with my manager. I fought with my manager saying that I don't want to do it and he asked me क्यों? And I said कि स्क्रिप्ट अच्छी नहीं है, something. आप कब तक वो बोलोगे? आप कब तक बोलोगे किसी से झूठ? तो फिर eventually I was in Macau and I sat down and I thought that something is wrong and I need to fix it, but I don't know how. And I didn't want to make an emotional decision. I did not want to say that, oh, खत्म बात, get up and quit. One, because that time मेरे पास कोई reason भी नहीं था कि मैं छोड़ती क्यों. मुझे बस it was just a feeling and I did not want it was just a feeling I had and I did not want to go by my feelings क्योंकि आप जब एक emotional decision लेते हो you're most likely to regret it
Yeah, and
sometimes.
then it बहुत temporary phase होता है ना उसका.
Yes, and it's a
Yeah.
very temporary phase. So I did not want to do that. So I really sat in, I was in Macau and I sat and I said, okay, there's a problem I have. There's something that is going wrong. I want to know what is going wrong. So I thought, okay, I am a Muslim, but why am I Muslim? That's when it hit me that, okay, I have been, if अगर उस time मुझे कोई पूछता कि Zaira, why are you a Muslim? I would have just said, my parents are Muslim.
Yeah, because yeah,
I
बिल्कुल.
did not have any other reason why. And that's why I did not understand कि मैं, why am I praying?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what happens, that when the meaning associated with something is lost and is not, the answers are not sought for, you will not know why you're doing something. You will not know आप नमाज क्यों पढ़ रहे हो. You're just praying because your parents are Muslim. You're just, आप हमारे लिए Muslim, anytime you think Muslim, you just think biryani
Yeah.
and ruafsa. Is that what we want? Is that all that our identity is going to be tied to biryani or ruafsa? Is there should be something more
And
than that?
pakoda, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pakoda, and there should be something more than that.
Yeah.
So, so I sat and I said, "Acha, there's a problem. कि अब मुझे, you know, I don't have knowledge. And what is it that I don't have knowledge of? It's that I do not know why I am a Muslim. And if I am a Muslim, I accept it. What am I supposed to do in this world, right?" So certain things changed. जब आपका, you cannot expect कि आपके actions change होंगे जब तक आपका mindset change नहीं होगा. So your mindset changes your actions change your mindset. It's a continuous loop.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
So I sat and I thought कि I did not know मैं कहाँ से शुरू करूँ, because I did not have the courage to call a Maulana and ask him कि मुझे बताओ, क्योंकि मुझे ये भी नहीं पता था मुझे पूछना क्या है. What do I ask him? I did not know who to ask, what to read, where to begin. I really didn't. I was so lost. I was so lost and I was really tired. I was really, really, really tired because आप अपने आप से कब तक लड़ोगे? आप अपने ज़मीर से कब तक लड़ोगे? आप थक जाते हो और आपके सामने कोई रास्ता नहीं होता and you're like, where do I go? Where am I going?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala He is just. He sees your heart. He sees your intentions. You sincerely will try for something, he'll open doors for you. And हम आयतुल कुर्सी कितनी बार पढ़ते हैं? And there's one verse in आयतुल कुर्सी that says वल्लाहु युहीतु बिइल्मिही इल्ला बिमा शाअ, that you cannot comprehend out of his knowledge except what he wills. So I started reading. I was like, मुझे नहीं पता मुझे क्या चाहिए, but मैं पढ़ना, and that time मेरा intention ये नहीं था कि मैं इसलिए पढ़ना चाहती हूँ because I want to quit. My intention was that I am lost, I am frustrated, I am irritated, and I need a purpose in my life. Had I not been an actress, I would have still thought that way, that I was lost. I did not know what to do. It's not because I chose that journey because I was acting, I was in Bollywood. It was, alhamdulillah, a stage where I reached, where I realized I don't have a purpose, I don't have meaning, and I need to find that. So I started reading, and Allah Ta'ala opened doors for me, aista aista karke, ek ek karke. And I remember I was taking that flight back from Macau. I don't remember where I was going. I think I was going to Bangkok or somewhere. वो 8 घंटे की फ्लाइट थी और मैं जो भी सुन रही थी मैं लिख रही थी. And I was just going on writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And when I landed, I cannot describe the feeling that I had. I realized, because you discover something that scares you. You discover something that moves you. You discover something that changes the way you perceive life. And that all happens in a moment. Of course, it's a journey. But वो journey का कहीं जाके एक conclusion आता है. So it was a moment and I realized कि अच्छा ये होता है. And basically I'll tell you what I realized. That we all say La ilaha illallah. We all claim to be Muslims and we say La ilaha illallah. But have we ever thought about it? That other religions, उनका existence क्या होता है? They accept a god or they accept gods. But for us, the kalma in itself begins by negating other gods. The kalma says la. It says no. There's no ilah. So ilah basically का क्या मतलब होता है? That there is no ilah except Allah. Now when you think about ilah, what does ilah mean? Ilah is anything that you direct your worship to. It's anything, any deity that you direct your worship to. And you realize that all your life you have been directing your worship to money or to fame or to whatever, maybe a person, maybe your parents, maybe your friends, maybe an ideology. And you realize कि worship का एक बहुत strong foundation मोहब्बत से बनती है. मोहब्बत से बनती है. वर्शिप इबादत का एक लाजमी जो कहते हैं ना वो क्रक्स किसी चीज का जो फाउंडेशन होती है वो मोहब्बत होती है.
सही बात.
And there was a verse in Surah Baqarah that said that have you not seen those who have taken for worship gods ilah other than Allah. They have taken gods and they have taken ilah other than Allah, and you realize that oh yes, this is what we have done, that we have not truly loved Allah. Because then the verse goes on to explain that innal lazina amanu ashaddu hubban lillah, that the ones who believe, indeed those who believe, they are greater in their love for Allah. And you realize that hits you. It hits you in your face and you realize, oh, you claim to love Allah Ta'ala, but you don't worship Him. Because Allah Ta'ala says, and that's when you realize that Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that I did not create mankind and jinns except that they worship me. So I realized, okay, हमको सबको पता होता है कि हमें इबादत अल्लाह ताला की करनी है. We all know it. It's been fed in our minds. It's like a meaningless statement now for us that we have to worship Allah Ta'ala. We don't know what it means. We don't know what it really means to worship Allah Ta'ala. And the foundation of it is love. And you cannot claim to love someone and be disobedient to him. You cannot do that. You're lying to yourself. So that's when I realized certain things, and I actually thought for the most basic thing. मैंने सबसे basic
Sorry.
तो हमें लगता है कि हमें पता होता है.
Zaira Wasim, not here. Yeah.
Please fix it. I looked for the meaning of Islam. That changed. So this one statement, actually what Islam means changed how I perceived Islam. So Islam का actual मतलब जो होता है, it means to surrender. It actually literally means to surrender, to submit. Yeah. And when you think about it, देखिए submission, मैंने जब हम submission की बात करते हैं ना, हमें एक बहुत negative feeling दिमाग में आती है. हमें लगता है कि that we have to surrender. But when you actually realize कि जब आप एक इलाह को surrender करते हैं, उनकी तरफ surrender करते हैं, you do not just surrender your heart. You surrender your desires as well. You don't just surrender your desires, you surrender your body as well. There's a reason why we are praying 5 times a day. Our wealth, our resources, our aql, and main thing, our aql. Our aql. First thing, please surrender your, we as some of us become very proud of our rationality.
Yeah, beta thoda close hoke baithe camera ke paas. हाँ.
We rely on our rationality a lot. We rely on our desires a lot, and हमको क्योंकि बहुत चीजें कुछ ऐसी होती है जो हमारी समझ में नहीं आती हैं. They are beyond us. So we have to surrender to that. We have to accept कि भाई तुमको नहीं समझ में आएगा. There is a greater thing that is beyond you. Surrender to that and control only what you have access to. Only control what you have access to. So I realized that. And another verse in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says that, have you not seen the one who has taken his own desire as his ilah? And that scares you. That scares you.
That, exactly.
That scares you. And that, the Quran is something कि आपकी जब, it's a constant journey. आप कुरान के साथ ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप एक बार पढ़ेंगे और खत्म हो जाएगा. It's always a different journey, that any time you interact with the Quran, it's going to be different. It's going to sometimes give you hope. Sometimes it's going to give you love. Sometimes it's going to give you a lot of acceptance. Sometimes it's going
Courage.
to give you a liberating thought, and sometimes it's going to give you a slap in your face.
Yeah.
It's really going to give you a slap in your face of reality. So that's what happened. And then I actually studied Surah Al-Asr very briefly.
Yeah.
So one thing about the Quran is that Quran ke basically jab padhte hain, obviously there's different things, but one of the things about the Quran is that the first half of the Quran and the second half of the Quran, the first half is very उनकी वर्स आप देखेंगे तो बहुत लंबी होती हैं, बट जब हम उनकी तफसीर करने लगते हैं तो वो तफसीर इजीली समझ में आ जाती है, वो मतलब it's brief.
Yeah,
It's
but the
brief.
last half is
Yes, but
complicated
when the
and it
second
takes
half,
time to understand.
yes, the second half of the Quran is actually उन सूरास को कहते हैं मुत्तसिल आयात, कि ये जो आया होती है ना, वो कटी छोटी छोटी आयात होती हैं कहीं कहीं, जैसे आप देखेंगी वल अस्र इन्नल इंसान लफी, so it's like
बिल्कुल.
short brief ayat, but
It
the
has a history. It has
information
a,
Allah
yeah.
Ta'ala gives you in these verses
Mm-hmm.
is very powerful. It's very powerful. जो second part of ये जो कुरान का ये वाला टाइम है, so ये वाला जो एरिया है, अल्लाह ताला आपको brief verses में बहुत पावरफुल बातें बताते हैं, बहुत पावरफुल. एंड इसकी वजह से इनकी जब हम तफसीर भी पढ़ते हैं तो वो तफसीर में बहुत लंबी होती हैं, बहुत फिलोसफिकल होती हैं, बहुत डेप्थ होता है उन सब में, बहुत डेप्थ होता है. सो I'm going to stretch this a little bit because I really want everyone to know this. There are certain things in life that
Please, please.
truly touch you and move you to the point where you realize, okay, this is something that everybody should know, and it changes your perception of how you deal with
Don't worry
life.
about it, Zaira. आज आपको मैं अपने शो पे इसीलिए लेके आई हूँ because whenever, remember like we did like last year the entire Quran session together, and even that time I told you that you have to come and you have to talk to our generation because you yourself is very young, Zaira. ठीक है ना? तो आपको डेफिनेटली लोगों से बात करनी है क्योंकि जो इल्म आपके पास है वो हम में से शायद किसी के पास नहीं है, और अगर होगा भी तो हम रियलाइज नहीं करते. ठीक है? तो मेरे all my people, they want to hear you. So please do not worry about anything and tell us.
This is what happens. Like one of the reasons I don't talk is because I realize कि एक तो हमें कुछ नहीं पता होता है, genuinely. We talk and talk and talk and so much, and especially if you don't read the Quran, you don't. हमें problem क्या होती है, एक और, this is something that I have, it's a mistake I am guilty of, is that when we read the Quran, we take it out of context a lot. And what is important for anybody who wants to make a journey with the Quran is that you understand the context of the Quran. You have to understand that these are verses that were revealed at a certain time, and it was revealed to a certain prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was revealed to, and this prophet, he had certain companions, and they learned the Quran, they lived the Quran. And who better is out there who can teach you the Quran than these people? And there's a verse in the Quran where Allah Ta'ala says, say, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what the Salaf, जो companions हुआ करते थे from Hassan के, उन्होंने इस verse को कहा था, it is a verse of trial. It is a verse of test. क्यों? क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला कह रहे हैं प्रोफेट से कि कहो इनसे कि अगर तुम बोलते हो कि तुम्हें अल्लाह ताला से मोहब्बत है, fattabi'uni, then follow me, then follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Allah Ta'ala says, Allah will love you. So you cannot claim to love Allah Ta'ala and not follow his Prophet, not follow his ways, not love him. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that none of you are believers till I am more beloved to you than your parents, and
Yes.
then all of mankind. So we claim to love the Prophet. We claim to love the Prophet so much. But how many of us have actually followed the path of the Prophet? And mind you, by the path of the Prophet, I do not mean just हमने जो cherry pick सुनना किए है ना, कि मिसवाक कर लिया, ये कर लिया. No. If you talk about, see, अल्लाह ताला ने हर कौम पे एक messenger भेजा था. And हर messenger अपनी कौम की तरफ गया था. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल बीसी मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम या ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम थे या नूह अलैहिस्सलाम थे. वो जब भी अपनी कौम को एड्रेस करते थे वो हमेशा कहते थे या कौम इबुदुल्लाह, ए मेरी कौम अल्लाह ताला की इबादत करो. लेकिन जब प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद आए, अल्लाह ताला ने प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद को कहा मैंने इनको रहमतुल लिल आलमीन भेजा है। एंड सूरतुल बकरा में अल्लाह ताला कहते हैं या अय्युहन नासु बुदू रब्बकुम अल्लज़ी खलक़कुम वल्लज़ीना मिन क़ब्लिकुम लअल्लकुम तत्तक़ून। कि बेसिकली ये कि द एड्रेस चेंजेस when you talk about the previous messengers, their address was always oh my tribe. But when Prophet Muhammad said, he never said my tribe, because Prophet Muhammad was not sent explicitly to Arabs or his tribe. He was
Yeah.
sent for everyone. And one thing that changed the way I perceived religion, very important, is that if we claim to love the Prophet, what did the messenger spend his entire life doing? What did he do? He spent his entire life, all his resources, he exhausted himself for one purpose. What was that purpose? To spread the deen of Allah.
To spread the deen.
It's not even a concept. It's not even a concept for us. I was surprised to learn this when I was making that journey. I realized कि ये तो पता ही नहीं था मुझे कि ये करना होता है। हमने तो religion को सिर्फ एक culture और tradition के हिसाब से समझा है, and we only see and perceive religion, we confine religion rather to set of rituals, and unfortunately these set of rituals are not even something हमको पता है हम क्यों कर रहे हैं. We
नहीं,
don't
और
know that.
दूसरी बात यह है कि हमारे कल्चर में एक अजीब सी चीज है, कह लो या कल्चर कह लो या क्या कह लो, जो सदियों से चली आ रही है ज़ाहिरा, और वो ये है कि कुरान आपने पढ़ना है तो अरबिक पढ़ लेनी है, और उसके बाद आपने कहना है कि बच्चे ने कुरान खत्म कर दिया। या मैंने देखा है कि रमजान में लोगों की जो है वो रेस लगी होती है कि हम एक कुरान पढ़ लें और दो, भाई उसको समझो, एंड मतलब even last year when me and you did translation together, this tafsir together, like I learned so much from Quran, and then remember we used to have like sessions. तो ये है कि यार कुरान के एक वर्स में इतनी डिटेल्स हैं कि अगर हम उसमें जाएं तो we can find like so much of so many things, like it's a treasure.
Yes. And what is important is कि हम, so I'll get into this one thing that I really hope it helps people. So there was this surah, it's called Surah Al-Asr, and that completely changed, not just only changed, it actually gave me a sense of direction as a Muslim, as a believer. And I'm really going to get into a lot of details, so if I hope people can
No,
bear
bacha,
with
this is all yours. This yeah.
So Allah Ta'ala begins. So this is, I told you, okay, in this part of the Quran, Allah Ta'ala gives you it's very powerful. It's very powerful. And I remember कोई एक scholar थे, I think it was Imam Shafi, who said that just Suratul Asr, if a man was to contemplate on just Suratul Asr, it would be enough for his guidance. So I'm really going to get into this now. कि Suratul Asr से कैसे मेरे change हो गया. कि I read about it. I'll begin verse by verse. It said, wal asr. Allah Ta'ala swears by time. Allah Ta'ala is swearing by time. And we have to understand how important time is. That if the person sorry, not the person, the one who created time is swearing by time, how important it is. We just waste our time so much. And we don't realize that it is the only one thing the living person has. It's time. The one who is dead, if there's one thing that he has lost out of the many things he has lost, is time. Because the time is what in what you do everything. This is the time. आप time में ही सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. इसी वक्त की कसम. Wait 1 second. I'll just get my charger. ये off होने वाला है. Just 1 second.
Guys, stay on. Yeah, I think she's back. I'm good. Yes.
So
yes,
I'm telling you about Surah Al-Asr, that this is Allah Ta'ala swears by time. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, verily by time, everybody is in wal asr innal insana lafi khusr, that all of insan, all of mankind is in khasara. Khasara matlab loss. And the loss that is mentioned here is not something simple sa loss. It's a great loss. It's a great loss that is mentioned. Verily by time, indeed mankind is in loss. So you have to understand this is the one who created time telling you that, you know what, all of you are in loss. The people who think they're so successful and so amazing and you are in loss. Then Allah Ta'ala goes on to make an exception. He makes 4 exceptions. Wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr, illa allazina. So then Allah Ta'ala says, except for those. Who are those now? Illa allazina amanu. The first thing Allah Ta'ala mentions here is everybody is in loss except for those who believed. So ये पहला step है आपका. This is what is the distinguishing character between somebody who's not in loss and in loss. इसका पहला criteria is belief. You cannot expect कि आप बहुत अच्छे काम कर रहे हैं, but you do not believe, you do not have iman in your heart, you do not believe in Allah Ta'ala. All of your deeds are in loss. Everything is in loss. So, and I remember when I was studying Surah Al-Baqarah, बहुत briefly, तो Surah Al-Baqarah में एक चीज जो मैंने पढ़ी थी वो Allah Ta'ala goes on to describe something, and this जो तफसीर कर रहे थे उन्होंने बोला था कि ये 4 verses जो सूरत अल-बकरा की पहली 4 verses है, it is a description of the believers. So I'm going to get into that a little bit. कि अलिफ लाम मीम ज़ालिकल किताबु ला रैब फीह हुदल लिल मुत्तकीन, कि अलिफ लाम मीम यही वो किताब है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, that it is हुदल लिल मुत्तकीन, that this is the book that guides. So first you have to accept that there's a Quran and this is the one that guides. And then Allah tells you hudal lil muttaqin. So it's a thing that we have to notice. Okay? It's said hudal lil muttaqin. So the ones who are muttaqin. Muttaqin basically means the one who has taqwa.
Taqwa, yeah.
The ones who have taqwa, they will benefit more from the Quran. Basically, उनके लिए थोड़ा it's obviously when you have taqwa, you're going to understand the Quran, right? So then Allah Ta'ala in the next ayah, he goes on to describe who are the people who have taqwa.
Yeah.
So first thing, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. कि अल्लाह ताला अब बता रही है कि मुत्तकीन actually कौन है. First, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, that these are people who believe in al-ghayb. And हम जब सोचते हैं इस बारे में, so you realize that actually this is what distinguishes between people who are not Muslims and Muslims. That हमारा पहला belief गैब में है, al-ghayb. Al-ghayb is something that you don't see. And when you think about it, what is unseen for us? First, Allah Ta'ala is something we don't see. We've not seen Allah Ta'ala, yet we believe in him. We do not see Prophet Muhammad. We have not seen the previous messengers. We have not seen the hellfire. We have not seen the grave. Yet we believe. We believe that Allah Ta'ala exists. We believe that there's going to be a day of judgment. We believe that there was a prophet. Right? Then Allah Ta'ala says, Allazina yuminuna bil ghayb wa yuqimuna salata. Second thing जो बोली, नमाज, सलाह. And ये चीज अगर हम नहीं कर रहे हैं, because the first thing that we will be questioned about is our salah. And हम नमाज को इतना lightly लेते हैं and we think we are doing so good. आपके अमाल जाया है, आपकी नियत जाया है, आप क्योंकि पहली चीज आपको क़यामत के दिन जो पूछी जाएगी वो आपकी नमाज है. और हम नमाज अगर पढ़ भी रहे हैं, and this is something that you see in the Quran, that it's asked that why are you in hellfire, and they say that we were of those who did not pray. So I'm not going to get into too much. And then he goes on to describe allazina yu'minuna bil ghayb wa yuqimuna salata wa mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun, and they spent out of what we provided for them. And when you think about it, कि of course there's zakat, ये सबको पता है कि zakat देनी है. But when you actually think about it, कि अल्लाह ताला कहते हैं मैंने इनको जो भी दिया है, they spend out of what I have provided for them. This means कि आपके सारे resources जो आप इतने, that you're so proud of and that you're so you deal with so आप इतने कंजूसी के साथ डील कर रहे हैं, वो किसके हैं और आपको उनके साथ करना क्या था? हमारे लिए सबसे लास्ट में चीज कभी ऐसा कोई गुजर रहा होता है तब हम उसको 10 रुपए दे देते हैं. नो, दैट्स नॉट द थिंग. हमने ऑर्डर रिवर्स कर दिया. हमने ऑर्डर रिवर्स कर दिया कि हमें करना क्या था. देन अल्लाह ताला गोज ऑन टू से अल्लज़ीना युमिनूना बिल गैब व युकीमूना सलाता व मिम्मा रज़क़नाहुम युनफिकून वल्लज़ीना युमिनूना बिमा उनज़िला इलैका व मा उनज़िला मिन क़ब्लिका व बिल आखिरति हुम युक़िनून. So these are those who believed in what we revealed to them. For us it's the Quran. We believe in the Quran and what was revealed before them, which means that all the messengers that exist. You cannot claim to be a Muslim and not believe in Jesus. You cannot claim to be a Muslim and not believe in Isa alayhi salam. Sorry, Musa alayhi salam. You can't. So you have to believe in all of them. You have to believe that they existed. And they came and they were the messengers of Allah Ta'ala. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on to ye ek cheez. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. And these are those जिनको आखिरत में यकीन है. यहाँ पर ईमान, आखिरत के लिए ईमान नहीं इस्तेमाल किया गया, आखिरत के लिए यकीन इस्तेमाल किया गया. क्योंकि यकीन जब हम सोचते हैं ना, हमें किस चीज का यकीन होता है? जो चीज हम, जिस चीज को हम अगर आप किसी बारे में, आपको किसी चीज का यकीन है तो आप उससे उल्टी चीज नहीं करोगे. एंड दिस इज द थिंग दैट इज डिस्क्राइब्ड, दैट वबिल-आखिरति हुम युकिनून, they have certainty of the hereafter. And you see it कि आपको only when you will believe in Allah Ta'ala, only then you will care about the hereafter. Only then you will care about, and this is when you accept कि हाँ भाई, मैं अभी जो कर रहा हूँ मुझे उसके लिए I will be, उसके लिए मुझे दिया जाएगा बदला, चाहे अच्छा या बुरा. And then Allah Ta'ala says, Ulaika ala hudam min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. These are people who are upon guidance from their Rabb. And these are people who will be successful. Boom. Now Allah Ta'ala tells you that this is success. And हमारा ये basic भी नहीं पूरा हो रहा है. And हमें लग रहा है हम बहुत कमाल कर रहे हैं. Going back to Suratul Asr, ये तो पहला tenet था, that you believe, right? You believe, and when you see कि हम जब हदीस में जाते हैं और प्रॉफेट मोहम्मद ने बताया कि हमें किस चीज़ में ईमान रखना है, ईमान बिल्लाही व बिल आखिरती व कुतुबिही व रुसुलिही व यौमिल आखिरी व क़दरिही व शर्रिही व खैरिही व शर्रिही. यानी हमें ईमान लाना है अल्लाह ताला में, उनके एंजल्स में, वल मलाइकतिही व कुतुबिही, his books, व रुसुलिही, his messengers, all of them.
Yeah.
وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, the day of judgment, and destiny, divine decree, the good of it and the bad of it. So this is iman. This is what you have to have iman in. Then when you see, again go back to Surah Al-Asr, I was telling you, Allah Ta'ala goes on to make 4 exceptions. First was for people illazina amanu, that these are people who believe. तो अब हमें समझ में आ गया believe क्या है. Second, वो अमल सालेह, these are people who did good deeds. इन्होंने अमल सालेह किए. और अमल सालेह आप वही करेंगे जो हमें कुरान ने जिस तरह समझाया है. I would request everyone that they read Ayatul Bir, Ayat of Righteousness, and there Allah Ta'ala tells you कि actual righteousness क्या है. हम कैसे, it's said that Prophet Muhammad ने एक चीज बोली थी कि that none of you are believers जब तक तुम्हें अपने भाई के लिए वो चीज प्यारी ना हो जाए जो तुम्हें अपने लिए प्यारी है. And we think about it, हम जब सदका दे रहे होते हैं, हम जब ज़कात दे रहे होते हैं, हम इतनी रद्दी से रद्दी चीज उठा के देते हैं. And Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that none of you will achieve righteousness till you spend out of what you love. Ayatul Bir, Anika, it's Ayatul Bir, it's in Surah Al-Baqarah. So then Allah Ta'ala says Amal Salih, you do good deeds. And the third thing, Watawasaw bil Haqq, that they called one another to truth. They called one another to हक. क्योंकि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि आपके अंदर ईमान है और आप दूसरों लोगों को उसके बारे में ना बताएं? How you can, नहीं हो सकता आपसे. And I'm not saying this as a statement of shame, but I'm saying this as a statement of love. It cannot be that there is something that has changed your life and has gotten you to a point where you and you don't tell somebody else about it. And this is one of a very important purpose that we miss out, to call one another to deen. क्योंकि हम कुरान में देखते हैं that two things that are ordered, enjoin right and forbid evil. दो चीजें हैं. हम कभी कभी सिर्फ एक दूसरे को forbid evil कर देते हैं and we don't call one another to righteousness, or we only call one another to righteousness. और हमारे आसपास इतनी चीजें होती हैं हम नहीं बोलते हैं, हम नहीं उसके बारे में बात करते. And all of us are guilty of it. And it goes back to the same thing that Prophet Muhammad ने अपनी जिंदगी किस चीज में लगाई थी. He spent his entire life doing just one thing for Allah Ta'ala, and he called one another to truth. And the last thing, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, they call one another to patience. And this is something that gives you so much hope, that you realize that the path of deen is not going to be easy. It's going to be really, really tough sometimes. And this is what reminds you of the purpose. कि हम कितनी बार कभी कभी सोचते हैं कि हमारी जिंदगी इतनी मुश्किल क्यों है, हमें इतनी परेशानियां क्यों हैं, क्यों हो रहा है ऐसे हमारे साथ. या क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला कहते हैं कुरान में that I created life and death so that I can test you which one of you are best indeed. الذين خلق الموت والحياة लियब्लुवकुम अय्युकुम अहसनु अमला. मैं देखूं कि तुम में से सबसे अच्छे अमल किसके हैं. So this is what you realize, that so 4 things. I'm again going to sum this up later. Okay, first thing is belief. You need to have iman. And you see, actually, of course, Allah Ta'ala कहता है ना Al Hakim है, He is the wise. You realize Allah Ta'ala की हिकमत उस, आप जब देखते हैं सूरत अल-असर का जो ऑर्डर है कि पहले ईमान आया, ईमान के बाद अमल सॉले आया, अमल सॉले के बाद तवासुब बिल हक आया, और फिर तवासुब बिस सब्र आया. क्योंकि पहली चीज आपकी ईमान है. आप में जब ईमान आएगा तो आप में खुद ब खुद वो जज्बा अच्छे अमल करने का खुद आएगा. क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला कहते हैं कुरान में कि वल्लज़ीना इह्तदौ ज़ादहुम हुदन व आताहुम तक़वाहुम, कि जिनको हिदायत मिली है उनको मैं आई विल इंक्रीज देम इन गाइडेंस एंड आई विल ग्रांट देम तक़वा. एंड आपके पास जितना तक़वा होगा आप उतने अच्छे अमल करेंगे. आप जितने अच्छे अमल सिंसेरिटी के साथ, एहसान के साथ करेंगे, आपका ईमान बढ़ेगा. तो ये एक लूप है. तो इसी तरह आपका ईमान होगा तो अमल सॉले होगा. जब अमल सॉले होगा, और अमल सॉले का एक पार्ट ये आएगा कि you will want to call one another to truth. You will want to spread the deen. You will want people to know what the Prophet ﷺ said, right? And this is a very important part. And तवासुब बिल हक हम सब इतने different तरीकों से कर सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
As women, it is a very, very, very important reminder that we should be ambitious. All of us, a believer should be very ambitious. Yeah. And when setting out, do everything. Sab karo. Have, when choosing paths, when choosing careers, abhi to obviously बहुत मुश्किल हो गया है. There's so much diversity and so much, and everybody's like, what should we do? You need to know. You will never know what to do, honestly. It's always going to change, especially in response to, with experience and with how much knowledge, irrespective of किस field की आप gain करते हैं, you construct yourself out of that knowledge. So that will keep changing. What is important to understand, 2 things. एक, कि आप किसके लिए कर रहे हो. And once you have a purpose, once you know that I am going to do things only in this sphere, इन 4 चीजों के लिए. Because Allah Ta'ala says that by time सब loss में except for, and what is important to remember is कि Allah Ta'ala ने ये नहीं कहा कि कोई इंसान सिर्फ एक करेगा, so he's not in loss. No, these are 4 things. These are 4 things that you have to follow each one of them, because it's एक step combine करता है कि हमारी
success. Okay, I have a question, Zaira. Sorry. 4 things. अगर आप 4 चीजों की बात करती हैं, वो 4 चीजें कौन सी हैं? If you can repeat.
So it is the exception Allah Ta'ala makes. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. The first is iman.
Iman.
وَعَمَلُ الصَّالِحِ.
صالح अमल. सही बात.
وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. They called one another to haqq, to truth. 4th, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. They called one another to sabr. Because as I told you, that it's not going to be easy. It's not like अगर आसान होता ना, तो the prophets, all of them, the messengers, they would not have suffered. They suffered for their one cause.
अल्लाह मियाँ ने हर इंसान को हर काम के लिए देखे चूज किया है जायरा। अब
हम्म,
किसी की भी एग्जांपल ले लें, आपकी एग्जांपल ले लें, मतलब वही बात होती है कि यू केम एंड देन यू वर जस्ट गोइंग ऑन द टॉप। हमारी पाकिस्तानी इंडस्ट्री की कुछ एक्ट्रेसेस हैं, दे वेंट टू इंडिया एंड डिड वन और टू मूवीज, एंड आफ्टर दैट वो तो पाकिस्तान में उनका मतलब बहुत ही ज्यादा हो गया है कि मतलब क्या कर दिया उन्होंने। तो आप तो
हम्म,
वहां पे काम कर रही थी, आपने तो मूवीज उन लोगों के साथ मना की है, एंड देन यू चोज दिस पैथ, यू नो। तो
हम्म,
आई थिंक इट्स इनक्रेडिबल। आई थिंक अल्लाह हैज रिटन सबके लिए जो जो जिस जिसने करना है, वी जस्ट हैव टू फोकस ऑन व्हाट इफ इट इज राइट और इट इज रॉन्ग। अच्छा, मुझे
हम्म,
जायरा आप ये बताओ कि आपके फ्रेंड्स होंगे ना, जो क्लोज फ्रेंड्स आपकी होंगी, जिन्होंने आपको उस दौर में भी देखा होगा जब आप मूवीज करती थी, उससे पहले भी देखा होगा और अभी भी देखा होगा, ठीक है। तो जाहिर सी बात है, सब एक साथ सब मतलब आई नो दैट कुछ फ्रेंड्स जो हैं वो जाहिर सी बात है हमेशा साथ रहते हैं, और कुछ फ्रेंड्स हैं जो
हम्म,
रास्ता दूसरी तरफ इख्तियार कर लेते हैं, ये सोचिए कि ओ शी इज
हम्म,
गोइंग क्रेजी, और
हम्म,
ओके फाइन, बिकॉज आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड इट। एंड जाहिर सी बात है, मैं तो तुमसे बहुत बड़ी हूँ, तो मैंने तुम्हें कई बार ये बात बताई भी है कि मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स थे जो मेरे साथ बचपन से अभी तक साथ हैं, हम हंसते हैं, खेलते हैं, मजाक उड़ाते हैं, बट दे आर विद मी even right now,
हम्म,
like जब भी कोई लाइव सेशन होता है तो my best friend, her name is Maria, she's always there, no matter
हम्म,
I do good or bad। तुम्हारे फ्रेंड्स का क्या रिएक्शन था और है?
हम्म। I never focused on it, to be very honest, because see, इसमें हमें क्या लगता है ना, हम कोई छोटी सी चीज छोड़ते हैं या हमें लगता है हमने कमाल कर दी है। But when you realize कि हमको, okay, I'll just think about it, that you need to know, I'm again saying the same thing, but the example of the prophets, the example of messengers, for example, the trials they went through, I'm saying Ibrahim alayhi salam, and जिनकी story से मैं, it's it really moves you, it really moves you, because first he actually begins with that, और जिसमें actually बहुत सारा दीन based भी है, जिसे दीन फितरत कहा जाता है या जिसे हनीफ कहा जाता है, कि हमारा ईमान जो है वो उस पे बेस्ड है। इट्स मोनोथीज्म क्या है, वो इब्राहिम अलैहि सलाम को क्या हुआ था, उन्होंने जिस तरह सोचा कि एक आइडल मेरा गॉड नहीं हो सकता, या एक से ज्यादा मेरा, he can only be one god.
Oneness of God, yes।
And then he looked at the sun and he said that, okay, this is my god. And you think about it, why is it that a person would choose the sun as his god? It could be because you always perceive god to be someone so greater than you,
Yeah,
right? And he saw the sun and he thought कि ये मेरे से बहुत बड़ी चीज है शायद, and it's the sustainer of the nature. So many things depend on sun, and he said कि this must be my god. And then the sun set, and he said this cannot be my god. Then he saw um the stars and the moon, and he said this is my god. And then eventually he again he got confused, and he said he made this dua कि Allah Ta'ala, if you do not guide me, I'm going to be from the wrongdoers. And then Allah Ta'ala guided him, and then he got to know. But see what we need to realize कि जब इब्राहिम अलैहि सलाम ने ईमान लाया एक रब पे, it was not like boom, he he believed, and no, he was tested severely. He got tested first, he got kicked out of his tribe,
yeah,
he got kicked out by his parents, his tribe
yeah,
kicked him out. Imagine, from being this person you lose your entire identity. But he knew वो किस चीज के लिए कर रहे हैं, he knew कि तौहीद मोर इम्पोर्टेंट है आपकी सबसे ज्यादा चीज। जब आपको पता होता है ना आप किसके लिए वो कर रहे हैं, आपको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, आपको जेन्युइनली कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता आपके आसपास क्या बोल रहे हैं, कौन क्या बोल रहा है, क्योंकि आपके पास टाइम ही नहीं होता है।
हाँ,
यू रियलाइज आपका पर्पस कितना बड़ा है। सो देन ही गॉट किक्ड आउट। सेकंड ट्रायल ही वाज सेट ऑन फायर, people set him on fire, and he had to bear it patiently. For who? For Allah Ta'ala. Then he was severely afflicted when he was tested कि आप अपनी बीवी को, you have to leave her, and it's not easy to leave your child and your wife, but he did it for Allah Ta'ala because this was a test. Then Allah Ta'ala asked him to sacrifice his son. Just imagine, just imagine, it's not an easy thing, but he did it patiently. And Allah Ta'ala किसी का ईमान जाया नहीं होने देते, किसी का अच्छे अमल जाया नहीं, इस
सही
ऑब्वियसली
बात।
आखिरत में तो बिल्कुल नहीं होगा। ये तो ईमान है हमारा कि आखिरत में हमारी कोई भी अमल जाया नहीं होगा। But even in this world, so he was just tested, right? And severe tests, इसके बाद एक के बाद एक के बाद एक test, but he only did it for the sake of Allah. And then only because he was, with perseverance, he stood on that path of Tawheed. He said, I'm only going to worship one God and I'm going to take anything and everything that comes for him. Only then Allah Ta'ala said to him, मैं तुम्हें अपना खलील, Allah Ta'ala called Ibrahim alayhi salam his Khalil, यानी एक intimate friend. Imagine Allah Ta'ala calling you a friend. But it's not something that he woke up one day and he got that title. He worked only and only for Tawheed. And only then he got there. And once he got to that path, then Allah Ta'ala said to him, I am going to make you an imam. And who is an imam? Imam is someone who guides. इमाम का लिटरली मतलब होता है जो सामने खड़ा होता है, और इमाम इज समवन हु गाइड्स, जैसे मस्जिद में हमारा इमाम होता है। तो अल्लाह ताला ने उनको बोला कि आई एम गोइंग टू मेक यू एन इमाम। एंड यू सी इन द कुरान कि अल्लाह ताला जब किसी इमाम को डिस्क्राइब करते हैं, then Allah Ta'ala goes on to say that why did he make them an imam? How did these people become imam? Because they were patient by our commands. They were patient upon our commands. And they kept commanding with patience. So you need to have sabr. और सब्र की एक बहुत important चीज, सब्र का मतलब हम जब समझते सब्र, हमें लगता है चुप करके बैठ जाना है। सब्र takes a lot of courage. And it, for an individual, for someone, anyone, anybody who's watching me right here, it could be as simple as fighting to pray salah in the morning. That's your first fight. What is sabr? Sabr is to be patience को हमें लगता है चुप करके बैठना। Patience is perseverance. It's to keep doing things even though you
Yeah.
everything around you is going against you, yet you keep doing. That is sabr. And that is why Allah Ta'ala said कि एक दूसरे को सब्र की ताकीद करो, जो सूरत अल असर की मैं बात कर रही थी, कि एक दूसरे को बताओ कि ये दुनिया हमेशा नहीं रहने वाली है, कि तुम जितने इस टाइम जुल्म झेल रहे हो, you'll reap the benefit one day. And Allah Ta'ala is just. It's not going to be कि आप छोटा सा अमल भी करते हैं कि वो जाया होगा। और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि आप वो सिर्फ अल्लाह ताला के लिए करें। आप जैसे दोस्त की बात कर रहे हैं इस टाइम, एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि हम अच्छे दोस्त बनाएं। It is very very very
Very
important, and
important.
it is upon us women, जो कि unfortunately हम एक internalized misogyny आ चुकी है, that we look down upon other women so much. We don't help one another, and if we don't help one another, who will? There's a reason देखें हम एक, it's very important to be self aware. और एक चीज जो मैंने देखी है लड़कियों में या जो भी women, some of the conflict and so much of trauma that they go through, they go through it at the hands of another woman.
Yes.
And that's very sad. That's very sad.
बट देखो बाज़ औक़ात हम लोग वो गलतियां कर जाते हैं बीइंग वुमेन और व्हाटएवर, जो हम शायद बाद में रिग्रेट करते हैं। देखो ऐसा भी तो होता है ना ज़ायरा, मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि मैं तुम और हमारी जितनी ख़वातीन इस वक्त हमारे साथ हैं सिस्टर्स, हम लोगों ने कभी किसी का दिल ना दुखाया knowingly unknowingly, but ये है कि माफी मांग के and then you say, oh, I'm not gonna repeat it to Allah, asking forgiveness from him, and then you keep on going and going and going. So I think like being a mother also, that you need to pick and choose your friends.
Yeah.
Because देखो मैंने ना जब ये Instagram अभी join किया as a blogger, you remember when I said okay I'm doing it like last year, so I started from food because I was just doing some courses and I had no intentions of growing like my community like this. Alhamdulillah जो भी हो गई है। तो जायरा मैंने जो सबसे पहले बात नोट की कि देखो हम लोग तो टीवी मूवी और क्रिकेट के बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं ना, मीडिया के बैकग्राउंड से आ रहे हैं, तो वहां पे तो ये हमारी चमकती हुई दुनिया ही है, वहां हम मतलब आंख ही उन चीजों में खोली गई है ना जहाँ हम देख रहे हैं। मगर यार जब मैंने इंस्टाग्राम पे आके लोगों को देखा, और जब मैंने यहाँ के देखा कि यहाँ कितना मुकाबला है, मतलब आप सोच नहीं सकते हैं कि 10 फॉलोअर्स के लिए ना, आके 10 मेरे पास 10 फॉलोअर्स आ जाएं या मेरे पास 20 फॉलोअर्स आ जाएं, मतलब पीपल आर गोइंग क्रेजी। एंड बिसाइड्स दैट जी वो ब्रांड कॉन्शियसनेस इतनी है कि वो जी मैंने गुची लिया हुआ है, मैंने लुइविटॉन लिया हुआ है, मैंने ये लिया, यू नो व्हाट आई मीन। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि उस चक्रों में ना आप अच्छे फ्रेंड्स ही नहीं बना पाते हो बाज औकात, क्योंकि आप तो उनकी जाहिरी चीज देख रहे होते हो ना कि कोई बंदा मर्सिडीज से आएगा तो ओ अट्रैक्ट हो गए, बट आपको ये नहीं पता कि उसने वो मर्सिडीज कमाई कैसे, चलो अल्लाह मियां ने उसको दे भी दी, कोई मसला नहीं है, मगर वो एक ऐसा इंसान कैसा है, आप उसके साथ रह के क्या सीख सकते हो।
जी जी।
तो
मुझे इस पे एक्चुअली एक उमर रज़ी ताला अन्हु का कोट याद आ रहा है। आई डोंट रिमेम्बर एग्जैक्टली एंड आई एम गोइंग टू पैराफ्रेज अ लॉट। he basically said कि you should not make somebody, you should not say कि I know a person till you've seen him। उन्होंने कुछ कुछ चीजें बताई थी, कुछ उन्होंने कहा कि जब तक आपने उसको गुस्से में ना देखा हो, जब तक आप, anyway I don't want to go
ट्रैवलिंग
into all
गुस्सा एंड ऑल
that,
दैट, या
that is, especially in today's time it gets very difficult, but I feel from I can only speak my experience,
या यू
I
शुड,
cannot
ओके।
speak on anybody's behalf, क्योंकि हमारी जिंदगियां सबकी इतनी डिफरेंट होती हैं, हमारे इतने डिफरेंट स्ट्रगल्स होते हैं, इतने डिफरेंट स्ट्रगल्स होते हैं हम सबके, सो आई कैन नॉट स्पीक ऑन anybody's behalf and generalize and say
No, 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 we
सबके लिए
cannot generalize, we cannot generalize, we
but
can only talk about ourselves.
if one thing I have noticed and something that Allah Ta'ala did for me is um, our friends sometimes are actually reflective of our lifestyle sometimes। किसी 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 की लाइफ में होता है ऐसा कि आप आपकी ह्यूमन एजेंसी इज इज टाइड टू, ऑब्वियसली आप अगर एक आपका एक लाइफस्टाइल है, फॉर एग्जांपल एक इंसान जो 5 वक्त मस्जिद जाता होगा, उसके हो सकता है लोग भी उसको वैसे ही मिलते होंगे।
बिल्कुल।
आप एंड वन मोर थिंग, मैं आपको पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से ये बता रही हूँ कि अल्लाह ताला सेंड्स यू पीपल genuinely,
या
Allah Ta'ala sends people your way। You cannot imagine कि इंसान का जो रिस्क होता है ना, रिस्क रिस्क हम समझते हैं सिर्फ खाने से, अनफॉर्चुनेटली रिस्क आपका सिर्फ खाना नहीं है,
आपकी
रिस्क
सराउंडिंग्स।
आपका इल्म है, रिस्क आपका सस्टेनेंस है, रिस्क आपका खाना है, रिस्क आपके दोस्त हैं, आपके घर वाले हैं,
बिल्कुल।
इट्स एवरीथिंग। सो अल्लाह ताला increases that। I'm telling you, for me it changes slowly, things will change for anyone watching right now। I don't know what your struggles are, it could be maybe as simple as आप शायद नमाज ना पढ़ रहे हो, या आपको झूठ बोलने की आदत हो, या कुछ भी, कोई भी आपका सर्कमस्टांसेस है इस टाइम पे, um, just start just start somewhere, और चीजें बदलती जाएंगी, आपका इल्म इवॉल्व हुआ, क्योंकि हर चीज आपकी लाइफ में इवॉल्व होती है, आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग इवॉल्व होती है, आपका एक्सपीरियंस इवॉल्व होता है, और जो आप कर रहे हैं it has to reflect, it cannot be आप पढ़ रहे हैं बट आप उसको you're not incorporating that in your life, you have to do that and things change। Allah Ta'ala puts barakat, he puts so much barakah in your work, in your life, and I'm not just saying for myself, I to matlab I have, मैं तो I can't even say कि how useless I am, but so many people around me who inspire me, I've seen them and I've seen them how they change and how much barakah Allah Ta'ala puts in their life। Your friends, and not just religiously, I'm not just saying religiously, आप देखेंगे कि आपका कोई एक friend, imagine you 10 years ago, maybe you had a different set of friends, कुछ उसमें से रह गए होंगे, कुछ चेंज हो गए होंगे, क्योंकि आपकी आइडियोलॉजी बदल गई है। और लाइफ में एक चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, टू कीप मूविंग, बिकॉज द मोमेंट यू गेट स्टक समवेयर, you moment you confine yourself to a certain identity। हमें एक बहुत गंदी आदत होती है, एक सेल्फ लिमिटिंग स्टेट, मैं ये नहीं कर सकता, मैं ये नहीं कर सकता, मेरे से होगा, everything changes. You never know. You have to be prepared for everything. And one more thing which is important, कि if you have friends who you feel are not where they should be, try to talk to them. How else would they know? जैसे मैं आपको ये सूरत असर बता रही थी कि कहते हैं कि सहाबा जब एक दूसरे को मिलते थे या एक दूसरे से when they would, for example, they met each other सड़क पे, when they would part ways, they would recite Surat al-Asr to one another to remind, so it's important कि, और एक और बहुत important चीज ये है अपनी mental health के लिए, choose good friends. Rectify your soul. When you try to rectify and you try to take charge of your life, maybe I am the toxic one. जरूरी नहीं मेरे friends toxic हो. Maybe I am the toxic one.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to change that about myself.
Yeah.
So you have to identify, okay, maybe there's something wrong that you're doing. So understand that, identify it, and try to change it. Don't allow people in your life who who don't add benefit to your life. And I don't mean materialistically, I mean to your knowledge, I mean to your character. If you have friends, क्योंकि हमारे, we often, our human agency is limited with people जो हम कुछ कर रहे हैं. For example, I start a venture or I have an idea and I only seek validation from these friends. वो तो हमेशा बोलेंगे अच्छा है अच्छा है अच्छा है. And similarly, if I ask the world is always going to criticize you. So you have to find the middle path. You have to know who really is your friend and how do you identify a friend. What are the standards you've set for a friend? So we have to set standards for ourselves. I remember this one verse where Allah Ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu alaykum anfusakum. कि ए ईमान वालों तुम पर है अपनी नफ्स. So it is, what I mean by it, what it means is that you have to take care of your soul.
Yeah.
You have to take care of your well-being, your nafs. And what does that mean? That means that you have to strive to rectify it all the time. You have to seek resources, build within yourself what benefits you and what is going to benefit you in the hereafter. And what is important by this verse is not to mean कि दुनिया भाड़ में जाए मुझ पे तो I just have to take care of myself. No, 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 no. It is a part of Iman to want good for others. But how will you want good for others? हमारा standard of good or bad कैसे होता है? अगर मुझे कोई चीज अच्छी लगती है तो मैं अपनी आसपास के लोगों के लिए भी वही चाहूंगा. बट अगर आपको कोई इतनी घटिया चीज पसंद है, आप आसपास के लिए भी तो वही चाहेंगे ना. It is only when you increase your standards, when you rectify yourself, when you focus on yourself, this is when you will want good for everybody. When you start taking care of yourself, when you start investing in yourself, आपके आसपास की चीजें भी change होती हैं, आपके आसपास के लोग भी change होते हैं. And you have to respect that. You have to respect yourself. You have to understand okay, what doesn't benefit you. And that comes from self-awareness. That only comes from self-awareness. When you're aware of yourself, and I also mean not to just be aware of how amazing you are, because we are not amazing. When you realize कि आपको किसके लिए काम करना है, आपको अपना हर अमल ऐसे लगेगा. But it is also to be aware of your shortcomings. जब आपको पता होगा कि आपको कितना लंबा जर्नी अभी लेना है, आप में कितनी कमियां हैं, and when you are focused on your own shortcomings, you will not have time to gossip, and you will not have time to focus on other people, because you realize you're equally guilty of that fault that you're accusing other people of.
Yeah. ओके अच्छा ज़ायरा, मुझे ये बताइए कि आपने आर यू डूइंग सम कोर्सेज या आपने, क्योंकि बहुत कम टाइम में जो है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इतनी सारी ये तुम्हारी नॉलेज है कि समटाइम्स लाइक भी हम लोग आपको कॉल करते हैं कि ज़ायरा मुझे ये बताएं, कोई भी किसी भी चीज़ में हमें प्रॉब्लम मुझे पर्सनली होती है तो मैं आपको हमेशा कॉल करती हूँ कि ज़ायरा यार ज़रा मुझे बेटा ये बताओ, या मुझे बताओ कि आपने कोई कोर्सेज किए हैं, या हमारी इवन जनरेशन बहुत सारी लड़कियां देख रही हैं कि अगर वो कोई कुछ कोर्सेज करना चाहें या कुछ, तो is there a university or an institute where they can go and or you are doing?
I feel I am not the right person to answer this question, because I may be talking so much, but I'm not a person of knowledge. I'm no one. Like, you might think कि मुझे बहुत पता है because she's been going on and on and on. But I do not know anything, and if I had to speak I'll only speak of my experience because that's all I have access to. So for me, it started with very basics. And if I were to advise, it's very important कि आप take from the right sources.
Okay.
You know?
अच्छा.
And that's very subjective, of course, that's very subjective, right source kya hai. But what I ideally mean is when you try to study the Quran, हमने पहले भी इसके बारे में बात की, पर कुरान का एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट है पढ़ने का. अगर आप कोई एक वर्स ले रहे हैं और आप उसको पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, एंड लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु you know they want to read the Quran, they love the Quran, but they don't know कि कैसे होता है. So I'll say कि don't take it out of context. Don't cherry pick verses and say this is what it means. Because when scholars try to understand and do tafsir of the Quran, they see several things. They see when was the verse revealed, how was it revealed, who was it revealed to, ये किस context में किस चीज किस issue को address कर रहा था. ठीक है. उसके बाद प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद ने उसको कैसे एक्सप्लेन किया. यू कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द कुरान इफ यू डू नॉट नो द प्रॉफिट सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम. यू कैन नॉट. यू हैव टू स्टडी हिज लाइफ, यू हैव टू नो बेसिक हदीस. क्योंकि ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें, जैसे हमें लाइफ में कुछ डिसीजंस लेने होते हैं, काफी टाइम पे हमें नहीं समझ में आता है क्या करें, तो कुछ ऐसी बेसिक हदीस होती हैं जिससे आपको क्लैरिटी आ जाती है. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज दिस वन हदीस that innamal amalu binniya, हर अमल का दारमोदार उसकी नियत पे होता है. That changes a lot of things, क्योंकि scholars जब उसको explain करने लगते हैं, वो उस एक हदीस से 5,000 चीजें explain करते हैं. You know, जैसे for example, I said to you, Prophet Muhammad said that you have to love for yourself, love for the believers what you love for yourself. That explains a lot of things. So engage with the Prophet's life a lot. Try to engage with that and try to verify it. It is upon us to verify, क्योंकि आज के time पे fabricated knowledge और authentic knowledge, it's doing the rounds a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously इसमें थोड़ा difference of opinion भी होता है, but try to verify it as much as you can. Because see, what happens is that the Prophet said कि anybody who unintentionally, I don't remember if it's intentionally or unintentionally, if he lies upon me, he should take his seat in hellfire. तो हम जब कोई भी हदीस किसी को फॉरवर्ड करते हैं, हम हदीस की बात करते हैं, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप उसको पहले
वेरिफिकेशन. यस, बिकॉज मैंने देखा है कि कई जगह पे कुछ लिखा हुआ होता है कि जी दिस इज हदीस एंड दिस इज, और उसकी ना कोई प्रॉपर वो नहीं दी हुई होती है, ऑथेंटिकेशन नहीं होती या कोई रिसोर्स नहीं होती है. तो हमें रिसोर्स फाइंड करना इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अच्छा जायरा, अब मेरे जो है वो
let me continue on this. इसमें क्या हो जाता है, देखिए, why is it so severe? इसकी प्रॉफेट मोहम्मद के बारे में, झूठ बोलने के बारे में इतनी सिवियर वार्निंग क्यों है? क्योंकि देखिए, हम काफी बहुत सारे लोग, हम में से कुछ जज्बाती भी होते हैं. And we dearly love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. हम कोई ऐसी बात सुनते, we just hear Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam करते थे, and we're quick to jump on it and act upon it. तो इससे क्या हो जाता है, our deen and our perception of deen is based on his ways. So the moment you hear something which is fabricated, it is changing the deen. ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें जो हमने बचपन से सुनी होती है एंड वो फैब्रिकेटेड होती हैं, और हम उस पे इतनी सारे अमल कर रहे होते हैं, और बाद में पता चलता है ओह इट डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट.
यार जैसे लास्ट ईयर जब आपको याद होगा कि हम शिर्क की बात किया करते थे. देखो, मैं हिजाब नहीं करती या मैं अपने आप को कवर नहीं करती, मगर इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह मियां हिदायत दे. लास्ट ईयर आपको याद होगा कि हम जब बात किया करते थे शिर्क की, तो बहुत सारी चीजें मैं अपने फॉलोअर्स को भी बताऊंगी, जो बहुत ज्यादा चीजें हमने क्लियर की थी. वो ये थी कि देखिए, मैं जो थी, आई डोंट नो, बट मैंने बचपन से ये देखा था कि जी अगर लोग कहते हैं कि जी नजर लग जाएगी, तो नजर लग जाएगी तो चारों को लिया आयतुल कुर्सी पढ़ के आप बच्चे पे दम करो, तो या जो भी करो उसको पढ़ दो, आप वो करो. मगर हमारे यहाँ क्या होता था कि वो जो मेरी हाउसमेट थी ना, वो 7 मिर्चें लाती थी और वो लाके ना हमारे ऊपर से चारों को पढ़ के मार के उसको जला देती थी. समटाइम्स दिस इज व्हाट शी यूज्ड टू डू.
इट्स अ कल्चरल थिंग. इट्स अ कल्चरल थिंग,
राइट? तो बहुत सारी चीजें. मगर जब लास्ट ईयर मैंने शिर्क के बारे में पढ़ा, काफी लेट पढ़ा, बट चलो पढ़ा तो कुछ अंदाजा तो हुआ कि यार शिर्क तो बाल से भी बारीक हमारे ईमान में एंटर हो चुका है और हो जाता है.
yes.
तो
I
जायरा,
can know your
आपने किस
views.
तरीके से जो है वो इस चीज को रेक्टिफाई किया, और इस चीज पे आपने लोगों को या अपने आप को गाइड करना शुरू किया? बिकॉज हम जिस कल्चर का हिस्सा हैं वहां पे बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो लोग इन चीजों को फॉलो करते हैं।
Hmm, hmm, hmm. See, it's something that I told you. It's a journey I'm still making. Like there are times when I'm reading or I come across something and I get shocked कि ये तो मैं बचपन से सुन रही थी and it's not true. Like that hadith के अगर तुम्हें इल्म चाहिए तुम चाइना तक जाओ, ये मैं बचपन से सुन के
हाँ,
आई थी. And when I got to know it's not true, you're like, what's going on and what has been going on, because you start questioning everything. So I cannot say, I cannot direct anyone to any sources, but except for these three things: that the Quran, Prophet Muhammad की hadith, an authentic hadith, उनके तरीके, उन्होंने कैसे चीजों को किया, कैसे समझा. तीसरी चीज, you have to understand that when Prophet Muhammad was there and he was living, there were people around him. There were sahabas जिनको अल्लाह ताला ने कहा है कि I'm pleased with them and they're pleased with Allah Ta'ala. And these are people who some of them have been promised Jannah. So these were direct addressees of whatever was occurring around. And the way they have understood it, try to strive and follow that path. Try to understand कि sahabas ने कौन सी चीज की थी और कौन सी नहीं की थी. So सबसे पहले ये समझे कि दीन अल्लाह ताला कहते हैं कि मैंने मुकम्मल कर दिया तुम्हारे लिए. So मुकम्मल करके अल्लाह ताला ने प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद को दिया है. So you cannot expect to go beyond Prophet Muhammad. You cannot expect कि Prophet Muhammad ने कोई चीज नहीं की, मैं वो करूंगा और मैं बहुत अमेजिंग इंसान हूँ. नहीं, उनसे बेहतर कोई नहीं था. उनसे बेहतर दीन किसी ने नहीं समझा, ना सिखाया, ना कोई कर सकता है. Follow that. And the Prophet Muhammad के जो companions थे, the way they understood the Quran, the way they taught the Quran, क्योंकि हम सारी हदीस किनकी narrations पे ही है ना. And these were people who saw it. So strive to seek that path. कि उन्होंने कैसे समझा, उन्होंने किया कि नहीं. The moment you see Prophet Muhammad ने नहीं किया, मत करो.
सही बात.
The moment you see, अगर Prophet Muhammad के कभी confusion होता है, नहीं समझ में आता है, you try to see did the companions do it. Because इंसान को कभी कभी वो confusion होता है ना कि of course he was the prophet, he was Prophet Muhammad, तो हाँ ठीक है, maybe अल्लाह ताला made certain exceptions for them. Sahabas तो direct follow कर रहे थे. So who is a better example for you than them?
सही
So
बात.
try to do that, follow that, and see, you will see आधे से ज्यादा जवाब इंसान को वहां पर मिल जाते हैं.
अच्छा जायरा, प्रॉब्लम्स तो बहुत हुई होंगी जब आपने जाहिर सी बात है सब कुछ छोड़ के, और मेंटली एक या तो फॉग आया था, या यू न्यू ओके यू आर डूइंग इट एंड दैट यू जंप्ड and you said okay fine, because it's not easy, because I knew at that time you have signed a lot of contracts and so much going on, and you were also very young. You're still very young, and the place where you are right now, जहाँ पे रहते हो, आपकी सराउंडिंग्स, वो सराउंडिंग्स को भी छोड़ दो यार. जब आप प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में होते हो, आपके एक बिल्कुल डिफरेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स होते हैं ना, कॉन्टैक्ट्स भी डिफरेंट होते हैं. Was it easy for you to tell everyone okay, because you're not in an secular Islamic country? So was it very difficult for you, or
See, like I told you कि पहले क्या होता था, I did not have the courage. I did not have the courage to be honest. First, to accept myself, to say कि okay, there is a problem within me and my faith, and something is wrong, and I'm a hypocrite. Like honestly, I was a hypocrite. So I had to accept that. And once I started building on that journey, देखिए पहले क्या होता था, उस टाइम भी थोड़ा इन था तो सोचती थी कि हाँ नहीं करना है. मैंने आपको बताया कि इवेंट्स वगैरह में छोड़ती थी, पर किसी से बता नहीं पाती थी. I did not have the courage to speak about it honestly. And then later, when I got more knowledge, when I started seeking more knowledge, I realized it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And one of the reasons, a lot of people also ask me कि आप आराम से छोड़ सकती थी. Why did you go? Why did you conduct it out so publicly? I reached that stage where I was tired of that identity. I was tired of every day getting calls कि ये है film है वो है, and I was tired of lying. I just wanted to be honest and say that, there's a problem within me and it's bothering me. I'm struggling with it. I'm not happy with this identity and I want to get rid of it. I want to move on and be better. And every time somebody would say, oh, you inspire me, I would be like, please don't say that. don't say that I inspire you. This is not something I want to do. I don't want you. Please get your life sorted. Do something good with it. Don't waste yourself. Don't waste. Allah Ta'ala has created you for a purpose. Honor that purpose.
Like तुमने
There are
अभी sorry
so many
just carry on.
so many things within you. So that's what happened. तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता जब वो होने लगा ना, फिर I reached a stage where I realized it doesn't matter. I don't care who says what, and um, you know, I genuinely also used to think about death as well. कि अभी मर जाऊंगी तो फिर
ये तो
what
ख्याल देखो आते हैं. अच्छा मुझे ये बताओ, because a lot of my followers, they, जब मैंने कल आपका अपना पोस्टर लगाया, तो they came to me and they were like कि we cannot find Zaira's public profile with a blue tick mark, and that also because having like more than like 1 million or 2 million people, and all of a sudden, you know, like यहाँ पे तो people are going crazy to even get like 20,000 30,000 people. Like did you actually deactivate it, or you're gonna क्या किया आपने अपने अकाउंट के साथ?
So I deactivated it थोड़ा रमजान से पहले. I personally was a little not. I was thinking कि रमजान में तो करने वाली थी because it's a distraction and stuff. So ऐसे कुछ time के लिए I'll get back. I'll come back inshallah. But अभी कोई plan नहीं है.
अच्छा, तो for everyone, this is your first interview after you left TV.
I have not. I don't know if this is an interview. I don't know.
This is not an interview. मेरी और तुम्हारी तो रोज बात होती है, but yes, this is not an interview, but it's a conversation or whatever in front of like तुम लोगों के सामने या screen पे अभी आई हुई, like छोटी screen पे कह लो. After 2 years.
After I don't know how many years. I really don't remember it.
I think after मुझे याद है ना, Sky's Pink अभी आपकी 2 साल पहले आई थी ना, 1.5-2 साल पहले. I remember I told you, मैं वो movie देख के आई, you said I'm not interested. And I was like, oh my God, this is, you know, like I went to, watch a movie, and I came back and I told her that, I watched this movie and you worked, fantastic and I loved it. And she was like, Mariam Baji, कोई और बात करें, I'm not interested. And I was like, या अल्लाह, प्रियंका चोपड़ा के साथ मेरी मूवी और मैं तो सबसे जंप मार के सबसे आगे बैठूंगी, तो जायरा यार, बेटा, you are an inspiration and you should know that we all are,
Don't say all that.
अच्छा चलो इंस्पिरेशन मत बोलो, मगर तुम ना सपोज देखो, तुम्हें पता है कि मेरे भी छोटे बेटे हैं. अगर मुस्तफा की जगह द वन हु इज 13 वो मेरा ख्याल है कोई मेरी बेटी होती, तो मैं उसको अपने साथ बिठा के जो है वो ये इंटरव्यू दिखाती. नॉट बिकॉज देखो, यू आर नॉट इन योर 30s, you just crossed your teens, which is very big, because crossing your teens and like coming up with so much of dignity and akal. So good, hats off to your parents also, because देखो हम लोगों को अपने बच्चों को जो तरबियत का हिस्सा है ना, कि तुम्हारे ब्रेन में या तुम्हारे माइंड में ये चीज आई. क्योंकि हम आजकल की जो खवातीन है वो अपने बच्चों की तरबियत सिर्फ ये कर रही हैं कि वो कपड़े पहन लो और वो गाड़ी पे में जाओ और वो दोस्त बना लो, इंस्टाग्राम पे आ जाओ, यूट्यूब पे आ जाओ. तो दिस इज व्हाट लाइफ इज.
I'll tell you something. It's not. See, for if you have to understand a person or what they're doing, you have to go. If you see an opinion, for example, a person has an opinion, and हमारा एक conventional opinion सबका एक होता है. You have to understand what has formed that opinion in the first place. So in today's time where we are being fed what we should be, we should look a certain way, we should dress a certain way, we should be perfect, and we should have this, और एक conventional opinion सबका बना. It's media, it's targeting people, and it's आपका वो conventional opinion बन गया है. आपका एक value system जो होता है वो form हो रहा है या हो गया है या हो जाएगा. So you have to understand first, because see, I'm not going to say कि मैं बचपन से बहुत I used to think about these things. Maybe not. Maybe it's something Allah ताला, मुझे तो लगता है मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने दिया है. For me, I'm not going to speak about myself, but for someone, your priorities will only change when you actually start questioning things, especially in today's time. If you think that there is a person who if for example, I like not Mercedes, but whatever, I like a life of glitz and glamour and ye wo, you have to question it for your own self. Is this something that is benefiting me? Not just religiously. चले religiously इंसान सोचे ना सोचे, but मैं आपको बता रही हूँ कि उस टाइम पे जब मैं जहाँ पर थी, मैं ये सोचती थी कि मैं एक्ट्रेस नहीं भी होती ना, मैं जो भी कर रही होती मैं उसको छोड़ देती उस टाइम पे, बिकॉज मुझे
कंफ्यूजन थी.
I had not thought of life that way.
Yeah.
I had not thought of life this way कि अच्छा ये so I'd say that you have to, you keep drawing your thoughts and your ideologies and your value from a conventional path for some time, for your own benefit. Try to get away from that path
Yeah.
and think for your own self.
Guys, I cannot
Use
save
your,
this life. Zaira, so many people are saying no, but Zaira will inshallah come again. She will again join us. But this is one thing which she said, Mariam Baji, I don't want you to save this life. तो मैं जो है ये लाइव अपने पेज पे सेव नहीं कर सकती, ऑल दो आई रियली वांट, बट नहीं. नेक्स्ट टाइम इंशाल्लाह जायरा जब आएंगी हमारे, अभी आप क्वेश्चंस करें, आप लोग जायरा से डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस करें, आपके जितने भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, हम 5 मिनट्स के लिए जो हैं वो आफ्टर 1 मिनट मेरा लास्ट क्वेश्चन जायरा से हो जाए, देन यू गाइस कैन स्टार्ट टॉकिंग टू हर, यू कैन आस्क हर क्वेश्चंस, शी विल डायरेक्ट रिप्लाई यू बाय टेकिंग योर नेम्स. अच्छा जायरा, मुझे सिर्फ मेरा लास्ट क्वेश्चन बेटा ये बताओ कि व्हाट आर योर फ्यूचर प्लान्स. देखो फ्यूचर तो हमें नहीं पता, वही बात है कि कल का प्रॉमिस, मगर तुम अब क्या करना चाह रही हो, व्हाट इज योर नेक्स्ट स्टेप? Are you going to be an entrepreneur? Are you planning to what's your plan?
right. I was discussing it with you. Okay, I like to write sometimes. I think of writing my journey sometimes. क्योंकि मुझसे क्या होता है, कभी कोई मिलता है तो पूछता है कि क्या था, and the moment somebody asks me, I cannot capture this journey in a brief conversation of 10 minutes. I cannot tell you, भाई, this was one verse, or this was ऐसे मैं रात को उठी और सितारे चमक रहे थे और मुझे ये. No, it's a journey, it's a thought process, and it's a journey I am still making. So I often think about it, कि should I write it, because a lot of people come and ask. So I'm like, should I write? But then I'm like, कौन पढ़ेगा, who's? So I think about it sometimes. I think about maybe starting a podcast to talk and to discuss. And I also had this plan of, I really want to start my own clothing line.
Okay, you want to, so you're planning to start like a modest clothing line or a hijab line?
I'm thinking of it, but I really don't know right now. For now, I really don't know whether I'll do it or not. I would really hope to, because it's been a dream I've had for a very long time. I could never do it though, but I would really hope कि मैं वो कर पाऊँ.
Yeah, inshallah, because you have a great choice. Plus, तुम कश्मीर में हो. Kashmir is like famous for all those embroideries and handwork, and obviously वहाँ का काम और खूबसूरती तो it's amazing. Guys, now you all can ask Zaira questions. आप लोगों के कोई भी सवाल होंगे, अब 5 मिनट तक Zaira आपके सवालों के जवाब देंगी. तो one by one, let's just start. आप लोग सवाल कर सकते हैं Zaira से. अगर आप लोगों को कोई क्वेश्चन करना है, she's here to answer your questions. कई सवाल गए हैं. कोई कह रहा है कि आपको किताब लिखनी चाहिए. ठीक है, माशाल्लाह, so much wisdom, Annie said, and then that's what I think. And then Mariam is also here. She's asking questions. I think
there's an option. There used to be an option of question का button होता था.
No questions yet. Can you please share what resources you do your research for authentic hadith?
Usually it's जब आप देखते हैं, आप try. I mean, I read everything from the internet sometimes, but
yes, I should.
I read from authentic sources.
But yeah, कोई आप ऐसी अच्छा authentic resource.
I tell you, एक चीज बहुत important, जब आप हदीस पढ़ रहे हैं, आप उसको 2-3 बार चेक करें कि वो सही. देखिए, इसकी 4 किताबें थी हदीस की: मुस्लिम, सही बुखारी, सुनन और अन-नसाई. तो अन-नसाई और एक और जो मुझे याद नहीं आ रही इस टाइम पर. इसमें देखें, और इसमें भी देखिए कुछ कैटेगरीज होती है. कुछ चीजें हैं जो ज़ईफ हदीस जिनको कहते हैं. ज़ईफ हदीस यानी जिनकी, देखिए, हदीस ट्रांसमिट होती थी प्रॉफेट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से. It always used to be narrated from someone. So when it would be narrated, कभी कभी उनकी जो चेन्स होती हैं, चेन्स ऑफ नरेशन, वो या तो मुरसल होती है, कभी टूटी हुई होती है, कभी फैब्रिकेटेड होती है, कुछ होती है. तो ट्राई टू सी कि आप जब हदीस सुनते हैं किसी से भी हदीस सुनते हैं, एक बार चेक करें. I don't remember वो कौन सी वेबसाइट थी, but I hope I can put it out.
You can actually, you can just if you get time, you can give it to me and I'll put it on my stories.
I'll give it to you, inshallah.
For people
try to find it on the internet. There's a website if anybody is interested, green color की website है, कुछ mint और cream, I don't remember the website name, but try to see कि उसकी जो chain of narration या नीचे authentic लिखा है कि नहीं है, और एक दो तीन बार verify करें. और दूसरी चीज, somebody asked me, where are you gaining your knowledge? I read a lot. I read books, not a lot, but I try to read. I try to read books of the previous scholars, जो पुराने टाइम के थे, जिन्होंने, देखिए कुछ ओपिनियंस होते हैं अबाउट द वर्सेस ऑफ द कुरान या प्रॉफेट मोहम्मद की चीजों की कुछ अंडरस्टैंडिंग होती है, उसमें डिफरेंस आते हैं. और ट्राई टू बी ऑन द पाथ जो सबसे ज्यादा एक्सेप्टेड ओपिनियन है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, कोई कुरान की कोई वर्स है, उसके डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन सबको होता है, इट एग्जिस्ट एवरीवेयर. तो वहां पर भी कुछ डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियंस है, बट द मोस्ट एक्सेप्टेड ओपिनियन जो होता है, तो आई ट्राई टू सीक फ्रॉम दैट ओपिनियन. मतलब अगर सहाबास के टाइम पे जिस तरह उन्होंने चीजों को समझा था, दैट रियली हेल्प्स मी. आई रियली बेनिफिट from that a lot. Other than that, there are certain books like Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah and Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. I try to read those books a lot. I have benefited बहुत ज़्यादा. उनके पास एक अलग ही किस्म की wisdom होती थी, जो previous scholars थे, because they were the closest to the time of the Prophet also, like later generations में या जो भी थे accepted opinions, I try to take from that.
Okay. Somebody has asked, Amna, are you learning Quran verse by verse, as you have mentioned so many verses in this talk? So that means that she's asking you, are you memorizing Quran?
Like, look, what happens is sometimes I read something, जैसे कुछ कोई verse होती है, और everybody should try to memorize the Quran as much as they can, because
Okay.
if there's one out of the many things जिससे कुरान याद करने से बेनिफिट है, एक बेनिफिट जो बहुत अमेजिंग है, वो ये है कि आप अपनी नमाज में बहुत अच्छी तरह कॉन्सेंट्रेट कर पाते हैं. एंड अगर आप उसके साथ साथ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप रोज एक वर्स उठाएं, समझा आप कोई सूरा याद करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जैसे सूरतुल मुल्क है या सूरतुल बकरा जो मैं करने की कोशिश कर रही थी, तो सूरतुल बकरा की आप एक वर्स लें, आप उसे दिन में याद करने की कोशिश करें, सुबह उसकी ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ लें और दिन में आप उसकी तफसीर कर लें. इससे क्या होगा, जब आपको बहुत सारी वर्सेस याद हो जाएगी, सो व्हेन यू प्रेइंग, जब आपकी सलाह होती है ना, इट इज सो अमेजिंग. इट इज लाइक, obviously Suratul Fatiha जब आप पढ़ रहे होते हैं, I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but your salah is actually your practical connection with Allah Ta'ala.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we are asked to pray 5 times a day, because we do not see Allah Ta'ala, we do not see anything, and it gets very difficult for us to establish a connection with something that we do not see.
Okay. So
when you read,
yeah, carry on.
जब आप 5 वक्त नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं, तो सूरतुल फातिहा के मतलब अगर हम समझने की कोशिश करें, जिसमें हम बार बार कहते हैं अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन, और हम कहते हैं कि इहदिना सिरातल मुस्तकीम, वो एक्चुअली एक दुआ है कि आप अल्लाह ताला से बोल रहे हैं. आप फर्स्ट यू बिगिन बाय ऑनरिंग अल्लाह ताला से, कि अल्लाह ताला ने बोला कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन, यू फर्स्ट बिगिन बाय प्रेजिंग अल्लाह ताला, देन यू मूव ऑन टू थिंग्स, एंड देन यू मूव ऑन टू से दैट गाइड मी टू द स्ट्रेट पाथ, इहदिना सिरातल मुस्तकीम. एंड it's a connection that you're establishing with Allah Ta'ala. तो इसके बाद क्या होता है, जब आप कुरान याद करते हैं, तो आप जब भी एक एक वर्स याद करेंगे, स्पेशली अगर आप उसकी तफसीर थोड़ी सी पढ़ी होगी या आपको उसका ट्रांसलेशन याद होगा, आपके दिमाग में एक स्टोरी चल रही होगी, आपके दिमाग में you'll be able to visualize it, and you'll be able to have more concentration in your namaz. क्यों होता है कि हम जब नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं, हमें अजीब अजीब चीजों की टेंशन होती है, कुकर जल रहा है, कुछ हो रहा है, कुत्ता भाग रहा है, कुछ our brain is going, कहीं भी घूम रहा होता है, वो उसने world trip करके आ गया होता है. So when you're actually in this conversation and you're trying to remember the verses, आपका ध्यान सिर्फ नमाज में होगा.
Okay, then there's a question, what to do at times of low iman. What do you do, like when you feel that we all are humans, right? So we get attracted towards this and that and fashion and media and whatever XYZ. So what do you do when you feel that your iman is getting low?
So iman is something जो हमेशा फ्लक्चुएट होगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि इंसान का ईमान हमेशा सेम लेवल पे रहे, कि नॉट बी. For me, I speak again for myself, what I benefit from a lot is, देखिए हम अब अपनी जिंदगी में अगर नॉन नेगोशिएबल्स रखें, तो उससे बहुत चीजें आसान होती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अपना नमाज, कीप इट अ नॉन नेगोशिएबल. डू नॉट नेगोशिएट इट एट एनी कॉस्ट. आप बाहर जा रहे हैं, आप कहीं निकल रहे हैं, ट्राई टू फिक्स योर सलाह फर्स्ट, इवन इफ यू आर लो एट ईमान. नहीं, डोंट लीव इट इवन दो यू आर फीलिंग कि यार मतलब एक नमाज छोड़ दी. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए आपने एक नमाज छोड़ दी तो पांचों छोड़ दें. पढ़ ले, सारी पढ़ने की कोशिश. जब आप एक पढ़ेंगे आपको आहिस्ता आहिस्ता खुद से
Get used to.
ये होगा. दूसरी चीज, सुबह और शाम का जिक्र कभी मत छोड़ें. आदत डाल लें. सुबह का जिक्र, शाम का जिक्र. एक बुक आती है फोर्ट्रेस ऑफ द मुस्लिम, आप उस पे सुबह और शाम के अज़कार हैं, वो कभी मत छोड़ें. क्योंकि वो आपकी इतनी अमेजिंग, when you read the translation of those duas, you realize how important those duas are. You realize कि उसकी ट्रांसलेशन इतनी अमेजिंग होती है. यू आर लाइक और कोई दुआ मांगने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी इंसान को जब आप वो दुआएं मांगते हैं. इससे आप नजर से भी बचे रहते हैं. इससे आप किसी परेशानी से यू कीप आस्किंग अल्लाह ताला फॉर दुआ. तो सुबह का जिक्र और शाम का जिक्र कभी मत छोड़ें. तीसरी चीज, कॉन्स्टेंटली बी इन इस्तिगफार. Constantly, like try
Yeah.
to do as much istighfar as possible. जिक्र जो है इंसान का दिल नरम कर देता है. Even if you're low at iman, आपका दिल नरम हो जाता है and things get better. And two things, if you are low in iman, have non-negotiables. Try to stay away from certain things. Like make it a non-negotiable list कि अगर मेरा इस टाइम ईमान कम है या कभी भी कम होगा, मैं ये चीजें नहीं करूंगी चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए. एंड व्हेन यू आर हाई इन ईमान, क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स कोई एक टाइम आता है जब आप बहुत कभी जज्बाती हो जाते हैं या आपका ईमान बहुत, ट्राई टू डू as much as possible.
Okay.
As much as possible.
Yeah, and when you talk about askar or when you talk about zikr, एक क्वेश्चन आया था जो मेरे सर से गुजर गया. So what क्या आप सजेस्ट करती हैं, देखिए एडवाइस क्या करती हैं कि आसान और इजी और मतलब जो हमारे लिए मैंडेटरी हैं, जो हमें करने चाहिए जिक्र, वो कौन कौन से हैं?
I am no one to tell
हाँ, जाहिर
anyone
सी
or
बात है,
anything.
बट यू नो लाइक एज अ डिस्कशन में. या
जी, मैं वही बता रही हूँ कि मैं फोर्ट्रेस ऑफ द मुस्लिम मैंने बुक बताई, जिसको इट्स अ बुक, इट्स अ स्मॉल
जी.
बुक आती है वो. अगर आप वो नहीं कर सकते, आई एम श्योर सबके फोन में एप्स होती हैं. किसी के फोन में मुस्लिम प्रो होगी या कोई भी होगी, उसमें सप्लिकेशंस होती हैं. मॉर्निंग और इवनिंग अज़कार वहाँ होता है. सो यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर, उसमें कुछ वेरिएशन आती है. लाइक when in the morning we recite, it's the same duas. When in the morning we recite, it's always asbahna, it's always sabaha, because sabah means morning. And when it's recited in the evening, it is always called amsayna. So you just have to change those words.
Okay.
Because like when you're asking in the morning, asbahna wa asbahal mulku lillahi walhamdulillah. Sham ko jata hai wo amsayna wa amsal mulku lillahi walhamdulillah. So it changes. In the morning it's asbaha and in the evening it's amsa. So it changes. So वहाँ पे लिखा होता है अच्छी तरह. It's clearly mentioned कि आपको क्या पढ़ना है, आपको कितनी बार पढ़ना है. And for someone who likes to listen, and अगर किसी की ऑडिटरी मेमोरी है, किसी को सुन सुन के याद हो जाता है, तो मिशारी की भी है सुबह का अज़कार, आप वो सर्च कर सकते हैं. हिस्नुल मुस्लिम, एग्जैक्टली, द बुक इज कॉल्ड हिस्नुल मुस्लिम. हिस्नुल मुस्लिम इज कॉल्ड फोर्ट्रेस ऑफ द मुस्लिम इन इंग्लिश एंड हिस्नुल मुस्लिम इन अरबिक. तो इट्स अ ग्रेट बुक. इसमें सारी दुआएं हैं और कितनी पढ़नी है, कैसे पढ़नी है. आई फॉलो दैट पर्सनली.
Okay, so the last question came from real Sonia, and she's asking, any advice or tip for kids and teens how to keep them in a straight path? Because yeah, living in West now is very difficult with kids. It's really difficult, especially with like teenagers, and I'm a teenage mom, so I know कि मेरा teenagers like एक मेरा बेटा है, and it's sometimes very hard for me to basically bring him on. I mean, alhamdulillah, but like what advice will you like to give? I'm a mom of
I think I am no one to give advice on this topic because
यार तुमने ना ये teenage में start किया था ना, तो you can give an advice because you're not a mom, you're not yet married, you're not yet engaged or whatever, you're not. तो आप वो advice तो दे सकते हो ना कि तुम समझो कि तुम teenagers को दे रही हो, तुम mothers को मत दो.
I would encourage the youth to like know your religion. Don't just have a mindless passive acceptance of religion, because we, like, the youth is actually very active. They try to question a lot of things. So it's good that people question, and it's equally important to care for its answers. So if you care about a question, equally care about its answers. And if you are a young person, this is the best time to, आप जो भी इस टाइम करेंगे आपकी वो लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी बन जाएगी.
सही बात.
Try to fix your salah. Try to fix your salah. If you are not praying, pray. If you are praying, see how you can make it better. Try to do that. And third thing is interact with the Quran and try to have good friends, because young people are very influenced by their friends, peer groups. So it's very important to have good friends. But how you make good friends, it is only when you will set good standards for yourself. Kuch bhi kar, and don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed if you are a person who thinks कि मैं नमाज पढ़ने निकलूंगा या निकलूंगी तो people will laugh at me. Ask the ones who are dead. The one thing that you have now and they don't is your time. And Prophet Muhammad said that, a lot of people, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's basically about how a lot of people don't take care of time, and it's something that eventually they end up regretting. कि आप अपने टाइम, क्योंकि इस टाइम इंसान का ब्रेन, इवन साइंटिफिकली हम जब देखते हैं तो इंसान का इस टाइम ब्रेन बहुत फ्लेक्सिबल होता है एट अ यंग एज. इट इज आफ्टर 25 दैट थिंग्स स्टार्ट टू चेंज विद इन आपकी, क्योंकि आपका बायोलॉजी भी चेंज होता है.
मुझे तो लगता है कि इवन आफ्टर 30 मुझे इस जमाने में जो है ना वो इतने ज्यादा फितने हैं कि हम सब ने वो जो है ना चीजों को वो किया हुआ है.
हाँ. So yeah, it's important कि आप set certain standards for yourself. Try to have a routine. Try to take care of yourself. Try to, really just as I would say कि अभी I literally like just left my teens. It's one thing when you're trying to become, as you go on your path of being an adult, you realize that it's only you and you who's responsible for yourself. As children, आपका शायद ख्याल रखते थे, but once you start growing up, you're going to have your own ideologies. You're going to have your own life, and you will have to take care of your own self. Because as an adult, one thing that is very sometimes sad to realize that it is only you who's responsible for your own self. To try to take care of yourself, try to be active as much as you can, try to, हर चीज में आप कोशिश कर सकते हैं, आप जो भी है, try to orient your life around religion and don't be embarrassed of it. If you are someone who wants to pray, maybe आप बाहर जाते हैं, या उठाएं भाई, जा नमाज साथ ले जाएं, कुछ नहीं होता. पढ़े, नहीं छोड़े नमाज. आप हिजाब करना चाह रहे, you are scared that maybe your friends will say कि do it.
अच्छा, मुझे एक बात बताओ ज़ायरा, सॉरी टू कट यू ऑफ, बट सी देयर आर वुमेन जो हैं, बहुत सारे लोग हैं इंक्लूडिंग मी, ठीक है. ऐसा होता है कि समटाइम्स आप जो है वो बहुत ही ज्यादा, मतलब रमजान आया, ठीक है, तो आप बहुत रिलीजियस हो जाते हैं. इट्स वेरी नॉर्मल फॉर आवर कल्चर, मुस्लिम्स या जो भी. मेरे अपने घर में भी यही होता है, मैं किसी और की क्या बात करूं, तो होता यह है कि जी रमजान आता है तो हम जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो रिलीजियस हो जाते हैं. हमारे अंदर से जो है ना वो हमारा, मतलब हर चीज हम कि लाइक हम नमाजें हमारी शुरू हो जाती हैं, हमारा ज़कात और सारी चीजें. बट जैसे ही रमजान जाने लगता है, या वो लड़कियां जिन्होंने, तो हम लोअन ईमान होते हैं फर्स्ट. सेकंड ये है कि बहुत सारी लड़कियां जो हिजाब पहन लेती हैं और उसके बाद समहाउ वो उतार देती हैं, या समहाउ शैतान का वो जो भी व्हाटएवर XYZ होता है, कहते हैं ना कि वो उसके रास्ते पे हो जाता है या भटक जाते हैं. तो अगर वो दोबारा पहनना चाहें तो इज दिस समथिंग दैट दे आर ऑलवेज स्केयर्ड ऑफ. लाइक जैसे मुझे फील होता है कि लोग बोलेंगे ओ तुम तो अभी बहुत ज्यादा एक्सट्रीमिस्ट हो गई हो, एंड देन ऑल दैट, एंड देन गोइंग बैक, ओ अभी तो तुमने कल हिजाब पहना था, आज तुमने ये किया, परसों तुमने दोबारा हिजाब पहनी. तो देयर आर फ्लक्चुएशंस इज ऑलवेज देयर, बिकॉज शैतान तो है ना. तो आप क्या एडवाइस दोगे उन लोगों को?
आई रिमेम्बर जब मैं क्विट ऑलमोस्ट करने की तरफ जा रही थी ना, तो आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन इन लव विद हिजाब उस टाइम, स्पेशली उस टाइम पे, एंड I was a non-hijabi and I really wanted to wear it, but that time I had not quit. So even I used to think कि मैं क्या करूं, because I was embarrassed. This is the thing, we are in a time where people are so confident about their values. It's a shame. It's not a shame, but it's sad that we don't have that confidence. So I really, really want everyone to know that just do it. just just do it.
Just
आप
don't
जब
care what
एक
people
step
think
लेते हैं,
and do.
आप it's not possible to not care. It will matter. It will keep. But remember, for every friction, for every problem that you're facing, आपको कोई ताना भी देता है, कुछ भी, if it breaks your heart, remember who you're doing it for. Just remember who you're doing it for. और आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपकी प्रायोरिटीज भी चेंज हो जाती हैं. Allah Ta'ala literally changes your heart. And for people who, it's actually very good to see. It's very heartwarming to see that for any person who is not practicing, वो एक step भी शायद रमजान में लेता है ना, it's actually, you know what it is? It's reflective of the feeble spirit of iman that is left in that person. And you never know, Allah Ta'ala maybe on that behalf guides you even more. That I told you कि Allah Ta'ala आपको हिदायत, it's a journey that you have to make, and you are going to falter in that journey. It's not going to be smooth. You are going to sometimes fail, but you have to keep walking. And Allah Ta'ala will, you know, even if you start walking with feeble steps, Allah Ta'ala will grant strength. He will grant strength to your steps. And you will not realize it that time.
Thank you
So it
so
will
much.
change. It will change. Everything is going to change. And just get up. आप start with the most छोटी सी चीज. कोई कुछ भी कर रहे हैं आप नमाज नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, वो ठीक कर लें. आपका बिहेवियर अच्छा नहीं, आप वो करने की कोशिश करें. मुश्किल होगा.
सही
It's
बात
not
है.
going to be easy, but there's a reason why Allah Ta'ala said that tawassul bil haqq wa tawassul bis sabr. And as women, it's important that we encourage one another. There are a lot of times that we see people faltering and हम नहीं बोलते हैं.
सही बात है.
Maybe that person needs a bit of encouragement. Maybe that person needs a friend to talk to, confide in. Maybe she wants to change.
सही
You know,
बात है.
try to talk to people. Have good friends. As women, please, please, let's encourage one another. Let's not put one another down. You see a hijabi, you see a non-hijabi wearing a hijab, go and talk to her and ask her. Maybe she wants to talk about her journey. So
सही
do
बात है.
it and be there for people. That's all that is going to matter once you die. We see it's, you know, it's over. You will be dead and all that you will take is going to be your deeds.
अच्छा, मुझे ये
That's it.
बताओ कि एक मेरा पर्सनल सवाल है कि हम लोगों को जो है ना जज करने में बहुत ही सेकंड लगाते हैं. देखो, गलतियां सबसे होती हैं, गलतियां इंसानों से ही होती हैं, राइट? और उसके बाद जब हम सच्चे दिल से माफी मांग लें एंड देन वी स्टार्ट वंस अगेन, और जैसे अगर हम, जैसे सपोज अब आप ये देखें कि एक लड़की है जो पर्दे में और हिजाब कर रही है, और दूसरी जो है वो, हमारी एग्जाम्पल ले लें, और मतलब एक ऑल ऑफ अ सडन अगर ये होता है कि जी वो लड़की हिजाब करना चाहे या वो हिजाब में नजर आ जाए, तो लोग हमारे बड़ी जल्दी उसको तोड़ मड़ोड़ के और बहुत जल्दी उसके ना रिजल्ट्स निकाल लेते हैं, या बहुत जल्दी जज करते हैं लोगों को, और जमीन पे कहते हैं ना इनडायरेक्टली कि नाउजुबिल्ला खुदा बन गए, like they judge you and then they pass comments and तो what do you suggest us, या तुम अपने ऊपर कैसे amplify करती हो? Do you judge people? Do you?
मुझे I think मुझे, when I look at myself and then I think I should point a finger at this person, I literally just realize that, do you realize how stupid you are, and do you realize how incomplete, and you just shut up. Just shut up. Just you are so
अच्छा, ये लास्ट है क्वेश्चन ज़ायरा. आई विल नॉट टेक मच ऑफ योर टाइम. थैंक यू सो मच यार, आपने इतना अपना कीमती वक्त हमें दिया. देखो, टाइम जो आपने बात की है ना कि टाइम इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग, और आप मेरे शो पे आई और आपने आके मेरे जो है फॉलोअर्स से बात की. तो लास्ट क्वेश्चन ये है, सदफ से आया है कि एनी टिप्स ऑन स्टार्टिंग पर्दा, फाइंडिंग इट डिफिकल्ट टू स्टार्ट वेयरिंग अ हिजाब?
just start. Just start. Just don't think about what I'm saying. Just start. And remember who you're doing it for. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But it's a journey. Remember, guidance is a journey. And taqwa is a friend you make while you're on your journey of striving for it. So you walk. आप आज हिजाब कर रही हैं, आप कल को it will get better. Everything will get, move from that path. stick to it. Have sabr. Have sabr. Because sabr is not just to keep quiet. Sabr is a lot of perseverance. Just do it. Go ahead and do it. Just go ahead. That's it.
Thank you so much, Zaira. Thank you so much for for joining our session. I mean, I totally loved it, और I'm sure that मेरे followers को भी जो है, देखो हमें हमें तो वो वाली जायरा वसीम पता थी ना जो सीक्रेट सुपरस्टार में आपका, जो मुझे आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर देयर वाज अ सीन वेयर यू वर वेयरिंग हिजाब एंड देन बुर्का एंड देन सिंगिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ दैट वाज एन एक्ट, ठीक है, व्हाटएवर, that is something which is gone. But मैं आपको सिर्फ ये बता रही हूँ कि हमने तो वो साइड ऑफ जायरा वसीम देखी थी ना, मेरे फॉलोअर्स ने या मेरे मेरे जो यहाँ पे व्यूअर्स आए हैं, इन लोगों ने दैट साइड ऑफ जायरा वसीम देखी थी जो आमिर खान की मूवी में सीक्रेट सुपरस्टार में हिजाब पहन के खड़ी थी ताकि उसको दुनिया ये ना कहे कि ये गाना गाती है. दैट वाज एन एक्ट, that was a demand of your character in that movie. But ये ज़ायरा वसीम जो रियल में है, ज़ायरा वसीम ये आज पर्दा करके और बुरके में हमारे सामने खड़ी हैं, जो अल्लाह के लिए कर रही हैं और जो यहाँ लोगों को आके मतलब लिटरली लाइक it's a 360 turn. तो बहुत शुक्रिया सायरा आपका हमारे फॉलोअर्स के पास आने का, आपका जो है वो मेरे इस शो पे आने का. थैंक यू सो 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 मच. एंड मुझे लगता है कि मेरे फॉलोअर्स आपको फिर देखना चाहेंगे.
I hope inshallah we can talk again. And this is something, the beauty of Deen is you cannot contain it within yourself. You meet people, you make friends, and this is all you want to talk about. You want to talk the Quran, and this is the thing कि आपके अंदर जो होगा ना आप वही बात करेंगे. So once you establish a relationship with Quran and everything, and you want good for other people, you will just keep talking about this thing. And I don't mean for myself, for other people as well. I would love to know, like, what everybody has their own journey, every single person. So whoever is watching it, I hope that Allah Ta'ala makes this journey easy for you. And abhi agar aapke liye mushkil hai, Allah Ta'ala ki mercy aisi hai that even in trials, and if you see it psychologically as well, that we take a lot of pride in our struggles, but not in the moment when we are in it. It's years later when we look back and think that, I went through that, and you're proud of yourself for it, or you're grateful for it sometimes. So if it's tough for you, if it's difficult for you, anything that you're trying to get close to Deen, people maybe are judging you, your friends are judging, your friends are leaving you, maybe kuch logon ki to family nahi hoti supportive, family chhod deti hai, but you have to remember who you're doing it for. And when it gets difficult, all your answers are in the Quran. All your answers are in the Quran. There are stories, and they're not mere stories. You see Ibrahim alayhi salam ki kahani jab aap sunte hain, you see his struggles, then it's not just a story, it's a reminder. It's a reminder for you. So you have to just be steadfast, try to seek Quran, try to indulge with the Quran, and then there will come a time, like somebody just asked, you just spoke verses, how do you know it? It's हमें गाने क्यों याद होते हैं? There's a reason. So change little habits, and I hope next time I come with you, I talk about what may have helped me may not help someone else. So I have only इतना सा experience है मेरे पास जो मैं
छोटी
share
सी तो हो और experience माशाल्लाह. This was the reason Zaira कि I really wanted you to come and talk because जब भी मैं तुमसे, देखो मैं almost like तुमसे कितनी बड़ी हूँ, but हम जब भी बात करते हैं हम तो तुम यही कहती हो कि मरियम बाजी तुम मुझे समझाती हो. तो and I used to think like कि यार इसमें इतनी नानी अम्मी जैसी अकल कैसे है. तो मैं ना जायरा को अपने शो पे लाऊंगी, नॉट बिकॉज आई वांटेड जायरा वसीम टू कम ऑन आवर शो, बट आई वांटेड यू टू कम एंड टॉक टू आवर फॉलोअर्स. थैंक यू सो मच जायरा फॉर योर टाइम. इंशाल्लाह